Yes, yes, the Castlenovians. Yes, yes, the Castlenovians. All right, lads. Hope we are good. Gonna do a. I'm gonna do this live stream. 40 things I did to make cold approach easy. So I'm just gonna go balls deep in this stream, and just hopefully leave you with an obscene amount of value. That whether you're completely new to daytime approach, maybe you've been out the game for a while, you're looking for a fresh perspective, or maybe you just enjoy listening to my melodic, mellifluous voice like Alan Partridge on a Thursday morning, then there's going to be something in this for you. These are just things that I've done, by the way, so I'm not saying everything in here is going to apply for you or is going to work for you. This is just shit that I've done, which has been very beneficial for me going from where I started 5 years ago to where I am today. And you can verify all of this with going back to the oldest videos on my channel, so you can actually see where I started from, just to see that this stuff actually does work. I've linked a video below as well. So I don't teach game, I teach anti-game, okay? So as far as I'm concerned, game is stupid, right? It has men parading like robots, regurgitating these weird lines and systematic routines and push-pull vibe stack. And it's all a bunch of bollocks, in my experience. So what I teach anti-game, which is basically the most simple and efficient way of meeting women through face-to-face communication. So this is the same system that's already worked for over 200 guys, the system that high achievers pay me thousands of dollars to help them implement in person. And you can access this right now completely free. So there's a link below. It'll take you over to my landing page. And on that landing page, there's a 28-minute video. And that is anti-game artistry distilled into the details. So if you find any sort of value from this video, then I go even balls deeper in that free training below. So yeah, you can access that. It's completely free. You might as well watch it. All right, so 40 things I did to make cold approach easy. Let's just start knocking them off one by one, because fuck me, it's gonna be a long one. Okay, so the first thing that I did to make cold approach easy was just focusing on the open. All right, so if you boys have watched a lot of my content, you'll know that it takes around 100 daytime approaches to start to develop proficiency. Okay, so when guys work with me in person, I'm throwing them in to at least 100 approaches, because I understand it takes about 100 of these approaches to start to develop the proficiency needed to be able to do this skill on your own, okay? Most guys, their biggest fear is opening, because they're living like closet heterosexuals, right? You're scared of being a man, having desire, finding women attractive, and the idea of going over to a woman stone cold sober, it feels quite hard. And if you've already clogged your mind with all of this nonsense game advice, like, oh, dude, you need to have exceptional conversation skills. Your verbal game needs to be on point. You need to transition into this DHV routine where you're telling the girl about some yacht that you've never been on. Then you get stuck in this analysis paralysis, right? You end up thinking way too many steps ahead, overcomplicating something which should be quite a simple process. Yeah, it's like, I'm a man, she's a woman, hopefully, and going over and just declaring your desire, just saying what you want, just giving her a compliment, recognizing that no one's allergic to a compliment, you know? So the best advice I can give to you is just to focus on the open, right? Rather than thinking way too many steps ahead and experiencing failure in advance and rejecting yourself on behalf of these women, all I get my clients to do when we're working together one-on-one is just focus on the open, okay? So all you need to focus on is walking over to that beautiful lady and just saying, excuse me, okay? Not even worried about giving a compliment at this point, because once you've walked over to another human being and you've said, excuse me, typically they're going to be expecting something else. And then whilst you've approached them, you might as well just say, you look amazing. Have a good day. Boom, done it, well done. So by just focusing on the open, we are prioritizing the only thing that matters when it comes to daytime approach, which is getting yourself into that conversation. You probably heard that quote, 80% is just showing up, yeah? But I think because today a lot of men are carrying this sexual shame with them. You know, I talk about it as closet heterosexualism. Yeah, you see a woman, but then all the doubt creeps in. Yeah, you get all these excuses which start to flood your brain, like, oh, this is creepy. Maybe I should wait for a better moment. Oh, everybody's watching. I think she might be a man. I'll get the next one. And then this continues to go, right? You keep watching videos, you keep telling yourself next week, tomorrow, the weekend after next, Easter, then I'll go out, then I'll do it. And then every time you don't take the action you keep telling yourself you're going to take, your confidence is quietly eroding. Yeah, and I know this because when I was 13 years old, I had terrible social anxiety. I really struggled when it came to interacting with strangers. So I made the decision to become a magician. But for the first couple of months of me walking around parks in the Lake District, I was terrified to show anybody the magic that I'd been learning on YouTube. I used to carry around a deck of cards in my pocket like it was some dirty secret. Like, oh, it's going to be weird if people are seeing me perform magic. This only works in America. Oh, what are people going to think? So like when I'm working my guys one-on-one now, I can see all the same bullshit that's getting fed into them when it comes to the open, right? So the main thing that I want you to be aware of is even if today your intention is to give yourself 20 minutes to tell one woman that she looks incredible, you don't need to worry about having masterful conversation skills. You don't need to worry about learning game. You don't need to worry about having a doctorate in social dynamics. All you need to do today is go out with a mindset of making one woman feel incredible. Because if you can understand that really what we're doing here is we're creating magic in the world. I think a big reason why guys have this thing, which doesn't exist by the way, of approach anxiety. Approach anxiety does not exist, okay? Approach anxiety was terminology created by the dating industry many years ago to convince you you have some sort of illness that you need to buy some bullshit course in order to overcome, okay? Anxiety is not an illness, it's an emotion. And the only reason why you've got anxiety right now is because you're not practicing the thing you need to practice enough, because we become what we practice. So understand first of all that you don't have approach anxiety, you're just not practicing approaching enough. It's the same with social anxiety as well. I used to tell myself the story, I've got social anxiety, but I didn't have social anxiety, I just lacked practice, okay? So it starts off very simply by setting an intention to go out there and just tell one woman that she looks amazing and just focusing on the open, okay? So when I'm working with my guys one-on-one, this is really the emphasis on our coaching, because if we get into like the really tactical details here, because I think this would be really useful, the stop is everything, okay? So if you see a woman who's walking past you, at some point you're gonna need to learn how to double back and approach her. This is another one of those like weird closet heterosexual / social conditioning problems that guys have. They want to approach girls like as they're coming towards them every single time. But the problem with that is you're gonna miss out on so many opportunities. Because if you're living in a busy city like London, or any city where people happen to be walking, you're not always going to have the opportunity to stop girls head on, okay? So what I teach is allow the girl to walk past first, and all you need to do is double back, walk over, say excuse me, get her attention, and give her a compliment. But the problem is, guys think, oh, but it's weird. You know, it's weird if I've watched her walk past me and then I go back and approach her. And it's like, no, dude, it's only weird because you're making it weird, okay? Because if you understand that you are the creator of magical experiences, you are literally going over to make this woman feel beautiful, desired, and sexy. It's your closet heterosexualism and the sexual shame that you're carrying and all of the conditioning from your parents, the media, maybe even your friendship circle that are making you feel weird about it. So what I'm doing when I'm working my guys in person and pushing them in to at least 100 approaches is we're just nailing the first 3 seconds of the approach, which is walking over to a woman, big set of balls. Remember, going halfway with half a heart only digs a deeper grave. Okay, so if you're going to approach a woman, you have to mean it. You have to own it. You can't be walking over super tepid, super lukewarm, like, oh, excuse me, oh, sorry to disturb you, but you look nice. It's like, no, dude, you need to own this shit, okay? And I understand when you are doing it on your own, you've got all these voices going through your head. It was the same for me as well. I'm like, fuck me, I feel like a closet heterosexual. Why is this so difficult? And I realized it was the programming, it was the conditioning, it was all the bullshit that had been fed into me. But if you can make a point to prioritize practicing the stop, so you're getting in front of the girl. And by the way, the reason for this, because you might be thinking, yeah, but why should I do it that way? Surely it's easier for both people if I'm just like stopping the girls head on. Not really, because if you stop somebody head on, they don't really have the option to choose. It feels more coercive than collaborative. But if you've allowed somebody to walk past you, you've doubled back, you said, excuse me, you're basically giving them the permission to choose if they want to have a conversation. And that's powerful because when people are allowed to opt into something, they're more likely to want to do the thing. Yeah. So really, it's kind of more creepy if you're just stopping people head on. And forcing them into a conversation. It's also the way that charity people stop people as well, like head on, hi, excuse me, do you have 2 minutes? So you're much better off practicing the proper stop because when I was first learning this skill, so I learned in Leeds in 2020 during the pandemic. There wasn't a barrel of laughs back then, let me tell you that. And I really struggled at the start with the stop, like allowing women to go past me, or maybe if I saw a woman walking really fast past Tesco's, I'd be like, oh, she's out of bounds now. I can't approach her because I've not unlocked that stop yet. So what I would do is I would walk all the way around the city centre in the hopes that I would meet her again head on, and it was just a complete waste of time. So wherever you travel in the world, whatever city you're based, it makes sense to just get the stop down, okay? So just focus on the open. Just focus on getting a woman who's walking to stop. So you go over, you say, excuse me, just wanted to say, you look incredible. You don't even need to say, I just wanted to say. It's kind of one of those bad habits that I fell into, where you end up watching a lot of cold approach content online, and you start saying shit that you would never say otherwise. Like, oh, I just saw you, and what I noticed about you, and I just had to say, it's like, no, excuse me, you look incredible. I would advise you to watch one of the new videos on my channel. It's called something like Cold Approach is Easy, Here's the Proof. That video, I think, is one of the most valuable videos on my channel because it just breaks down exactly how simple cold approach can be when you just focus on the open. Just focus on the first few seconds, yeah? Understand, no one's allergic to a compliment. You're literally going out with the mindset to give. Yeah, how can I make the world a better place today? Oh, she looks amazing. Maybe she's not been made to feel beautiful in a long time. I'm going to be that renegade action hero, stops her, stone cold sober, and just blows her away with my compliment, okay? And every time you're doing this, you are slowly peeling away the conditioning. Do you know what I mean? Because if right now you've never done a daytime approach before, it feels scary. But the only reason it feels scary is because of a lack of repetition. So once you've done it 100 times, it's going to feel a lot easier. It's the same when you do anything, right? The first time you do anything, I think you have to give yourself grace. You have to accept you're probably going to be shit at it. But something that I've learned is in order to become great at anything, we have to risk not being able to do it. And when guys are working with me in the field, I fit them with invisible wireless microphones, meaning that I can listen into their conversations in real time. I can give them individually tailored feedback. So one approach with me is worth around 30 approaches on your own, but really we're just focusing on the open. We're just focused on pushing that guy into as many of these approaches as possible, showing him nothing bad's going to happen. The worst you're going to get is a girl's going to look at you thinking, I don't want to fuck that guy, and keep walking. Or you might get, oh, this is really good, but I've got a boyfriend, or I really appreciate the confidence. I'm not available right now. Like, you'll get a kaleidoscope of different responses. But if you're action focused rather than outcome dependent, you'll do well. I know people are always like, don't focus on the outcome. It's like, yeah, but dude, like, why would I do something if I'm not focused? There needs to be an outcome to be focused on. So that's why I say to my guys, the rep is the reward. Yeah, the rep itself is the reward. So rather than doing the approach to get a date, a phone number, a happy ending, you're doing it because it makes you feel fucking great as a man to actually have a set of balls and walk over to her. And by doing that enough times, you'll start to give yourself permission. Permission is probably the buzzword that, the guys that I work with in person, they are successful guys, right? They've got everything figured out except this one crucial area. They've got the fitness, they've got the fashion, they've got the finances. But when it comes to approaching the women that they really want, they freeze up like a deer in headlights. Yeah, they feel like a closet heterosexual. They fall into what I call the optimization trap, which I'll get on a little bit later. So really what I'm doing is I'm just giving them permission to act in a way they've always wanted to act, but have lacked the permission to actually try. It is a game of permission because when you actually feel free internally, it translates so powerfully externally. Like when guys work with me in person now, they're surprised by how loud and how animated I am. And it almost intimidates them to get started with. It's like, dude, I'm not used to this. Like, you're talking about provocative topics quite loud in public. Like, a lot of people are looking at us. It's inviting the spotlight. But what I say to my guys is, this is exactly why you're struggling with approaching women right now. It's because you're not socially free. Yeah. And I say, this is really, I would say, profound as well. But what I've found to be true after working with over 200 guys is we don't actually have dating problems. We've got personal problems which manifest into dating problems, right? It's the personal problems which are holding you back, and you're probably not even aware of it, right? You've probably got people-pleasing tendencies. You probably do have an unnecessary care for what other people are thinking of you. You probably do have a distaste for the social spotlight. Maybe you're even harboring some form of resentment toward women. Yeah, maybe you've been burnt in the past. Maybe you've watched too much red pill content. Maybe you've tried going out there and doing cold approaches. But maybe if you're being real with yourself, you were just half-arsing it. Maybe you were pussying out of a lot of approaches. Maybe you were doing approaches just to count the numbers rather than making the approaches count. So one thing that I've always found to be true is just taking radical responsibility for where we're at. Do you know what I mean? Like 5 years ago, I was a porn addict. I had erectile dysfunction. I had £24.82 of universal credit in my bank. I looked like a turnip. I dressed like a moron. I had a ferret stitched to my forehead, and I wasn't a pretty sight. Yeah, but I knew that nobody was coming to save me. So that's why I dedicated pretty much every second of my life to mastering the skill of daytime approach. Because for me, it wasn't just about women. It was reclaiming my power as a man. It was a 2 middle finger salute to all the programming, all the bullshit, all of the nonsense which had been fed into my mind. And really, it was kind of a personal mission to reclaim my sovereignty. It was the most aggressive form of self-development. And it became a semi-religious experience as well. I think all religion should be a bridge which takes us closer to the divine. And when you've been out there and you've done 100 daytime approaches in 3 days, you'll touch the divine. You'll feel what it's like to be alive. It's not nerves that you're feeling, right? It's aliveness. Your body is preparing itself to come into more contact with this divine energy, aliveness, fuel, yeah? But I think a lot of people shrink away from this feeling because they're not used to it in their everyday lives. Yeah, they're not used to this feeling of aliveness. Life can become monotonous at times, especially if you're working a job you hate in a city you despise, like I used to. It can be like, oh, this is like a weird feeling. Oh, I don't want that. But no, run towards the resistance like your life depends on it by just focusing on the open. That's it, right? This is only the first point, by the way. I've got 39 more to get through. I didn't realize I'd spend so much on one point, but just focus on the open. Yeah, just focus on going over to one woman and saying, excuse me, wait for her to stop, make sure she's actually looking at you and say, you look incredible. What are you doing today? Oh, that's nice. What's your number? Because all cold approach comes down to is open and close. That's it. If you can learn how to open 100 times and you can learn how to close, meaning when the conversation has reached its natural conclusion, you're like, are you on WhatsApp? Or, well, listen, the reason I came over was because you look incredible. I want to take you out. What's the best way to get in contact with you? Or what's your Instagram? If you can practice it, if you can just practice open and close 100 times, then you'll already separate yourself from pretty much every other guy on the planet, because most guys can't do one. Yeah, but if you can do one, you can do 100, because it's the same thing. You're just going over, declaring your desire in a non-needy way, and just putting invitations out there into the world. And the worst people can do is just decline your invitation. Okay, so that's the first point. Just focus on the open. If you're enjoying these streams, drop the stream a like. And again, I go even deeper in the free training that I've linked below, Anti-Game Artistry. It's my complete life's work, my modus operandi for getting results in the modern world, Anti-Game Artistry. So I do a deep dive. In the link below, you can access it. Okay, number 2, deleting phone numbers. This one's great. So yeah, to make call approach easy for myself, because I don't pursue anything with the girls on camera. It's purely for demonstration purposes. So deleting phone numbers was a really great way for me to feel more abundant, okay? Because if you can go out for, let's say, a cold approach session, I think this is more if you've got to a level where you've got more advanced with daytime approach, okay? So you can get phone numbers, you can go on dates, you can initiate happy endings. Maybe the games become a little bit boring for you. So I would say have a session where you go out and you just delete every single phone number that you get. Because by doing that, what's going to happen is you're going to develop this rock star super abundance mindset where you can have amazing women in your phone. You can have amazing women in your life, but you can just pull the plug, because abundance is not always having, it's knowing you can have, okay? And really, I think the game comes down to abundance. If you're living in an abundant state, then that's when you win, because the person who has the most cares the least. I think the problem today is a lot of guys are operating from this place of lack rather than from a place of wholeness, meaning they need something to happen in order to feel whole. But if you already feel whole, then that's when you win, because you don't need anything from the world anymore. I'm going to go into more detail on that later on. But for now, just understand, abundance is the antidote to all of your anxieties, okay? The more full you feel, all you want to do is give. It's like if you imagine a cup of water that's just overflowing, all you want to do is just give water to people, because like, dude, my cup's so full, all I want to do is give. Delete phone numbers. If you want to an easy way to start to feel abundant because it makes no sense, right? If you've got 5 beautiful women in your phone who would happily go on a date with you, then it makes no sense to actually remove these women from your life. But if you can do that, then you'll almost enter this rarefied realm where you can just like you don't need anything anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's like the self-made millionaire. Once you know how to make money, you're not stressed about money anymore. And once you know how to get women, you're not stressed about women anymore because you understand whatever you make, you'll make it back again, even if you lose it all. Yeah. So it's like once you've got the skill of daytime approach, you don't become needy or desperate in your life again because even if you're seeing a girl, let's say the relationship doesn't work, well, you're not going to go back to being a slave to the screen, right? Competing against an algorithm. Yeah, outsourcing your sovereignty as a man to some algorithmic dating app. Yeah, competing in an oversaturated market, basically just relying on luck to meet your next partner. But if you've got a skill like daytime approach, which I describe as a decentralized skill set of the awake 1%, then it's a superpower that allows you to feel abundant. Again, it's not always having, it's knowing you can have. But if you can go out for a session this week and just delete phone numbers, it's going to make you feel abundant. Like I say, I don't pursue anything with the girls on camera. So whenever I get phone numbers, I just delete them straight away. And what that's done for me over the years is almost allowed me to develop this psychopathic abundance where I'm like, yeah, cool, she was hot, she was a great girl, but I'm not going to pursue anything with her. So I just delete the phone number. And it's made me feel super abundant because now I don't attach my sense of self or my sense of self-worth or my future happiness on a phone number. And realistically, phone numbers don't really mean a lot at the end of the day anyway. It's like, did you get the girl out on a date? But still, I think it depends on what phase of the cold approach journey you're at. Because if you're a complete beginner and you're just shitting yourself to get outside, the first phone number you get is an achievement. So I think you should celebrate it. I think a lot of guys online, they're quite dystopian and dismissive about the stages in a beginner's journey. So if you've gone from a guy like I was 5 years ago, where I was absolutely shitting it, I hated myself, grappled with a perceived lack of self-worth, the first time I got a phone number from Daytime Approach, I remember it was in Hyde Park in Leeds. And I just felt like my whole reality had just been shattered in that moment. I'm like, fuck me, this actually worked. And she actually responded as well. We never went on a date because, well, she probably just didn't want to fuck me. I wouldn't have wanted to fuck me back then either. But point being, it gave me belief that it was actually possible. Do you know what I mean? Because like I went from thinking, can this actually work? Is it going to work for me? To going outside, doing some approaches, getting my first phone number. I'm like, okay, there's something in this because if I can do this once, then surely I can do it again. And then the more I do this, the better I'm going to get. And the more fuckable I become, maybe I can start converting these numbers into dates. So yeah, the first time you get numbers, it feels great. After a while, they kind of stop meaning anything because you're like, it's just like sales. You don't like, you can tell a guy who's seasoned with sales to a guy who's just starting out because a guy who's seasoned in sales won't celebrate the sale until the money has hit his bank account, right? But the guy who is more of a novice, just because the guy might have given verbal confirmation, he'll start celebrating. He'll start, popping open the bottle of Dom Perignon. He'll be like, fuck yeah, I made a sale. And then the guy, client never gets back to him. So yeah, you don't celebrate the sale until the money's hit your bank account. You don't celebrate the number until you're actually on a date with that girl, which then gives you the opportunity to have a magical experience together. But deleting phone numbers, it'll make you feel more abundant in yourself. It just feels good as well to be like, okay, I've got all these women who I could go on a date with, delete. It's just a really cool thing that I found. Not many people do it. That's more if you've kind of got to an advanced level of cold approach. I'd say if you're a beginner, I wouldn't be deleting the phone numbers. You're probably better off to date these women to get more date experience from cold approach. I would say as well, the dates you go on from cold approach feel a lot more different to the dates you end up on with girls who you might have met at, say, a party or a nightclub or a dating app. I don't know. I just think that it feels more primal. It feels more, I don't know, it feels like you've separated yourself from every other guy. It's like, yeah, I've literally created something out of nothing here. Do you know what I mean? Like the first few dates you go on from cold approach, it'll just shatter your reality. It'll be like, I literally walked outside, had a conversation with this stranger, and now we're on a date together. And then when you go the full way with a girl who you've met from Daytime Approach, it just feels fucking incredible, dude. It's incredible. I think it just feels right. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like you showed up as a man, you declared your truth, you weren't apologizing for it, you weren't hiding your bollocks, and you just led. and you escalated and it was magical and she loved it and you loved it. It's not a zero-sum game. Do you know what I mean? It's not like somebody wins and the other person loses. I think guys have got this weird fallacy in their minds that, women are not thinking about sex, that women are these like delicate creatures we have to, tiptoe around. I think really good piece of literature is My Secret Garden by Nancy Friday. Really solid piece of literature. It talks about housewives' fantasies in 1960s America. And once you read a piece of literature like that, it changes your relationship with the feminine in the best way possible, because you realize, yeah, we all want connection. I think we're all secretly lonely, especially in the modern world. It's not really something you can talk about. Do you know what I mean? It's not really something you can talk to your male friends about. Like, you're playing around a golf. It's like, oh yeah, dude, I actually feel quite lonely today. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a taboo topic, loneliness. But I think everybody struggles with it, especially in the modern world where we're more connected than ever. We've got the revolution of AI, fucking robots everywhere. I do think relationships and community are two areas that AI will not replace. But I do think there's a loneliness epidemic at the moment. I think doing something like Daytime Approach, it reconnects the world again. I don't know if it can change the world, but I do think it can change someone's world, because you don't know where these positive reverberations are going to ricochet. Do you know what I mean? You might go and approach a middle-aged lady today. You might not go anywhere, but she might go home to her family. She's a better mother. Her children feel more loved. They get better grades at school. Maybe they grew up to be a doctor. They saved someone's lives one day, and it was because you had the balls to go over and make the mum feel beautiful. So yeah, I think that started off by I was talking about deleting phone numbers. But yeah, delete phone numbers, make you feel good. Number 3, I understood the primitive fear. I understood Dunbar's number. I don't know if you know Robin Dunbar. He's not a cold approacher. Robin Dunbar was an anthropologist, and he made the distinction that 150 was Dunbar's number. So basically, in the caveman days, we were accustomed to knowing or being connected with 150 people. And the thing that really helped me move the needle in regards to overcoming my fear of approaching people was understanding that it runs so deep in our biology. Because if you imagine in the caveman days, if you imagine that there are 150 people who we're associated with, if we were to put ourselves out there, if we were to embarrass ourselves, if we were to approach one of the cave women and she was like, no, thank you, all of the tribe would have known about it. So rejection back then would have equated to death, yeah? No sex, no protection, no shelter, no food. And based on my understanding, we've carried these primitive fears to the modern day. So now when you feel hesitant or anxious to approach a woman, it's like you're not fighting just against modern mainstream conditioning and culture. You're also going against thousands of years of biological programming. And once I understood this, it actually put me at ease a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm not like a massive pussy. I'm just trying to battle against the current of biological programming. So once you understand that, it's kind of ingrained into our DNA to fear social consequences, embarrassing ourselves in public, our public judgment, public humiliation, then you can go back to what I said at the start of this stream and just focus on the open. Because once you can put yourself into a cold approach conversation, you are literally rewiring thousands of years of biological programming. And when your mind catches up and realizes worst case scenario is this woman might just give me a funny look and that's it, it starts to put my mind at ease. I'm like, oh, I was proving to myself in real time there were no severe social consequences. And all of this is underpinned as well by common sense, but I appreciate common sense is not common practice. Like, a lot of guys have this fear that they're going to get in trouble by cold approaching. But if you understand, cold approach is what I call a hyperbolizer, meaning it will exaggerate who you currently are. So if you're a weird guy, if you've got shit social skills, if you're out of shape, if you stink, if you've got man boobs, if you don't know how to string a sentence together, if you make women feel uncomfortable because you've got a lack of social calibration, then doing something like daytime cold approach is going to make you more weird because it's socially unorthodox. Not a lot of people do daytime cold approach, especially in the Western world. Then it will shine a spotlight onto you and it will make you more weird. But I don't work with guys like this. You need to get your shit in order, all right? I think a lot of guys, unfortunately, they've still got this weird pick-up idealism that you can be a loser and get results in the modern world, right? Like, guys will make this argument that, oh, it doesn't matter your circumstances, you can still get a woman. It's like, yeah, you can still get a woman, but it might not be the woman you actually want. Like, I'm sure I could go down Fat Brenda's chip shop at 7 p.m. on a Saturday night and probably get someone. But it's not about just getting a woman, it's getting your woman. It's getting a woman that you're actually proud to show your friends. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a hyperbolizer. You do need to have your shit together. We need to remove all this conditioning from old school game and outdated pickup advice that you can be a loser, you can be working down the car wash, and you can clean up with Victoria's Secret models. You can't, right? You just can't. Okay, you're not going to be sleeping on that gravy-stained mattress in your grandma's apartment and thinking, yeah, I can clean up today. No, you need to get your shit in order, dude. It's like, again, common sense is not common practice. But if you're a good guy who has got his shit together, you're working on your social skills, you've got a solid job, maybe you've got aspirations to become an entrepreneur or level up your career, you're in shape, you've got your fitness on point, your finances, your fashion, you're actually a fuckable version of you, then Cold Approach is going to make you even more fuckable, because the feedback you're going to be getting is, whoa, this guy's confident, this guy's got balls, like, I really appreciate it. You know, I've got a boyfriend right now, but if I didn't have a boyfriend, I'd definitely date you, right? So you need to have your shit in order. I've got a course, it's called My Most Fuckable Man course, quite a crass name, but I think it does the job. And that really teaches you how I became the version of myself who Cold Approach can work for. Because that's what I'm doing in these videos, in the free training below, everything that I put out there. I'm not teaching you how Cold Approach works. I'm teaching you how to become the version of yourself who Cold Approach can work for. It's a distinction, and it's important because you can't be a loser and expect to win with Cold Approach. It just doesn't work anymore, okay? So you need to have your shit together. But by understanding Dunbar's number of 150, I realized a lot of this shit runs way deeper than just talking to women. It's literally programmed into our DNA to fear the social consequences which could arise from daytime approach. But again, by just focusing on the open, you're going to start to unlearn the bullshit, okay? And that's like one of my core philosophies with anti-game artistry. It's not learning anything new, it's removing the unnecessary, because you've most likely already got everything you need to succeed in dating, right? You've got your fitness, your fashion, your finances, you're probably a social guy, you've probably got no issues striking up conversations in more safe social settings. But when it comes to Cold Approaching women, you've got shame, there's fear there, you still haven't given yourself permission, you've not been pushed into enough cold approaches through to, I would say, initiate exposure therapy. So you've already got what you need. It's more about the removal of the unnecessary. Rather than addition, it's subtraction, okay? That's how anti-game artistry works. It's a system based around attraction through subtraction, not adding more. You don't need to add more confidence, more muscle, more fake lines. I mean, you can if you want, but it's not really going to move the fucking needle. It's removing the bullshit. It's removing the facade. It's burning the mask. It's ripping up the dating rule book and just saying to the world, this is me, take it or leave it. Again, free training below, click the first link, you can access the full training. I go way deeper, I'm more coherent in that video as well. Number four, the fourth thing that I did was I started having weekend immersions. Okay, so when I first started learning Cold Approach, I was living in Leeds, and it wasn't the biggest of cities, and also it was during the pandemic as well. We were kind of coming out of it for the summer period, so people were starting to, get out of their Zombieland hibernations. But Leeds wasn't a big city, and I knew that if I wanted to master daytime Cold Approach in the fastest possible time, I needed reps. I needed a lot of them. So what I was doing was I was taking weekend trips to London, and I was approaching upwards of 80 women, 80, in a single weekend. I think a lot of times people don't realize the amount of volume necessary to get the feedback necessary, to make the adjustments necessary, to actually get great with daytime Cold Approach. I think guys have got this fallacy that they just need to go out, on their way to the gym. I'll approach one girl and boom, I've mastered Cold Approach. It's like, no, motherfucker, you need reps, you need volume, you need to take a lot of shots. So I was having these weekend immersions, almost like these mini boot camp experiences. And I had financial accountability as well, because I'd either take the bus or I'd take the train. Usually I'd take the bus because I couldn't afford the train ticket a lot of the time, unless I booked the ticket in advance. So either the bus or the train I would take to London. And because I had financial accountability, like, okay, I've paid for my transport, I've paid for my accommodation, I need to make this work. It's the same financial accountability when guys work with me, right? When guys invest thousands of dollars into my coaching and my community, the entourage, it's like they burn the boats, yeah? It's like, I need to make this work now. Like, the more you invest, the more committed you become. That's what I found. Last year, I paid a business mentor, one of the biggest names in the online education space. I paid him over £20,000 for online business mentoring because I understand the more I invest, the more committed I become. You understand? And it's like, I am my biggest asset at the end of the day. That's how I view it now. Like money is it's a finite resource, right? Money is a finite resource. So, sorry, it's an infinite resource. Like money is everywhere. You can always make more money. You can never get your time back. So what I do now is I find people who've got the skill that I want. I pay them lots of money in order to accelerate my progress. So I was taking these weekend trips to London and I was approaching over 80 women in a single weekend because I knew I needed volume. I knew I needed to get a lot of feedback. I also knew I needed to get rejected a lot as well. You'll find that for yourself. You'll have this defense mechanism towards getting slapped in the face. Yeah, you don't really want to get rejected. Nobody enjoys it, right? Like you'll get people online who'll be like, "Yeah, love the rejections, bro. The rejections are great." And it's like, motherfucker, you don't really enjoy them. But you do have to suck them up at the start. So I was taking these weekend trips to London, and like that's what I would actually suggest that you do as well. I suggest that you have some form of immersion week. So what I suggest to guys is if you can take a week off work, let's say you're working a busy 9 to 5 right now. If you take a week off work, aim to do 15 approaches every single day for 7 days. By the end of those 7 days, you've done 105 daytime approaches. Now you've got evidence. Now you've got more permission. Now you've got feedback from the world. The problem is, guys they almost try and cheat the system by prolonging the amount of time it takes them to do these approaches. So we already know it takes 100 approaches to develop proficiency. So you want to aim to get these approaches done in as condensed a time period as possible. That's why I say have an immersion week. Go to a city where no one knows you. Book a week away to Barcelona or New York or Buenos Aires, depending on your geographical location, and just burn it for a week. Yeah, just hit it hard. Just hit it hard. Just aim to get as much volume as possible. And then by the end of that week, you'll have momentum. And you can then take that momentum back to your everyday life. But, thinking you're just going to be able to do one approach here, one approach there, on the way to gym, on the way to Zara, it doesn't really work because you need this condensed amount of volume. So that's why I was doing these weekend immersion trips to London. And it fucking worked, even though it wasn't the prettiest of times, but, still got through it. Number 5 was I prioritized imperfect action. Yeah, this is important. I think a lot of times, especially with high achieving guys, you suffer with this perfectionist paradox. You want to be perfect. You want to have the most smooth conversation. It's almost like as well, you're scared of losing value in the eyes of a woman. So you want the approach to go perfect. You want the approach to be smooth and suave and James Bond-esque. But real life is messy. Real life is ugly. That's why I post my rejection reels online, because I think it's important for guys to have a realistic view of what cold approach actually looks like. If I just posted my wins, then you'd have an unrealistic impression of how I approach and also approaching for you. So I would actually suggest just type in Christian Casanova rejections and just see, like, I'm no different to you. You know what I mean? Like I go out there, I have shit approaches, even today. But I think that the difference now is I don't attach too much importance to whatever outcome I achieve. So let's say I'm doing an approach and the approach goes shit. Maybe I lacked conviction. Maybe my stop didn't go right. Maybe I didn't get the girl's attention. Maybe I tried to approach her before she crossed the road, which is always a mistake, as you probably know. And I don't beat myself up about it anymore. You know what I mean? I actually deal with my mistakes with humor. I'll just laugh my way through it. I think having a sense of humor is one of those underrated skills with daytime approach. I think a lot of guys take it way too serious. They treat it as this like militant operation. Must go out, must get 10 sets. Very scared of losing value in the eyes of the feminine. And, their masculinity almost becomes this defense shield around them. You know what I mean? They try and act like this, alpha guy, but really on the inside, they're just wanting love and admiration from the feminine. I get it. Like, I'm literally no different to you in that regard. But prioritizing imperfect action is something that'll set you free, because when you do that, it removes the need to perform and gives you the ability to learn. Because if you can view cold approach more like an experiment, I wonder what happens if I go out today and approach 3 women and give them compliments. One of my mentors said to me, just pretend you're a scientist conducting field tests. Yeah, it's a good way to remove the ego from the equation. Because if you're just going out there to conduct experiments, get the feedback, take imperfect action, then usually like that is the problem why I think I'm thinking of guys that I've worked with. One of my guys, Augustus, who I coached, when was it? I think it was last summer. Really successful guy, making over 6 figures a year, just successful, professionally successful. Didn't have a problem when it came to socializing with everyday people. He'd worked in sales. But when it came to approaching women, he felt like a deer in headlights because he felt as though he needed to be perfect. And the way that we broke him free was just by being like, dude, fuck perfection, just show up. Yeah. You're never going to see these women in your life again. Like the first 100 approaches that you do, they're just batting practice. They don't even count. Like maybe you strike out every time. Maybe you hit a few lucky home runs, but the reps are the reward at the start. So if you can just prioritize imperfect action, recognize everything's forgettable, and in 100 years, none of this is going to matter, but you view the rep as the reward, and every approach you do is an investment into the identity of the man who you want to become. And also, it's a 2 middle finger salute to a society that wants to keep you shackled. Yeah, so every time you approach a woman stone cold sober during the day, you are actively saying to the world, I refuse the conditioning, I refuse the program. And you are rewiring thousands and thousands and thousands of years of biological conditioning. That's why I do believe cold approach is the most aggressive form of self-development. But you get there by prioritizing imperfect action. And like we said at the start, just focus on the open. Just focus on the first few seconds. Just focus on making these women feel incredible because a rising tide lifts all the boats. If you're enjoying this live stream, drop it a like. We've got 35 more points to get through. I've seriously overextended myself here. But anyway, come on. We're going to do it. Number 6 is do the hardest approach first. So whatever hard means for you, do the hardest approach first, yeah? So it might be a girl in a cafe. It might be a girl who is walking the opposite direction. It might be a girl who's in a clothing store. It might be a girl who's with her friend. It might be a girl who's with her parents. It might be a girl who's with her mum. It might be a girl who's got a really stony-faced expression. It might be a girl who you consider to be out of your league. We'll get onto that later as well. If you do the hardest approach first, all other approaches will feel easier in comparison. It's kind of like once you've lifted the heaviest weight at the gym, all the other weights feel lighter in comparison, yeah? Because there's a comparative element there. Do you know what I mean? Also, I think you just get this massive like state boost as well. Like if you can dive bomb into discomfort right at the start of your day, it's kind of like getting a cold shower to start your day. That's what I do here. Like I'm in the lakes at the moment, and the water here is fucking freezing. So what I do at the start of every single day is I just do the hardest thing first, which is jumping into that shower. No warm up, literally. I just put the thing over my head. I say 3, 2, 1, fuck it. I turn the nozzle and just this cascade of chill comes down me. And it just feels great. Like the first couple of seconds are a little bit brutal, but that's a really good strategy as well, is if you can ritualize immediacy and integrate that into your life, cold approach becomes piss easy. This is a really solid point, actually. When I say ritualize immediacy, what I do in my life, whenever there's things I don't want to do, I anchor it with 3, 2, 1, fuck it. I just do the thing. So maybe a live stream like this, maybe I'm like, oh, I've got 40 things to get through. It's going to take a long time. 3, 2, 1, fuck it. Get the camera rolling. It might be taking a cold shower. 3, 2, 1, fuck it. It might be doing a cold approach in front of a lot of people, or approaching a girl inside of a cafe, or approaching a girl who's with her parents. 3, 2, 1, fuck it. And the more you can ritualize immediacy throughout your day-to-day life, the easier it's going to feel when it comes to doing daytime approach. But if you can do the hardest approach first, all other approaches will feel easier in comparison. Point number 7 is the hottest women are the easiest to approach. I think a lot of times, especially if you're anything like me, you might have come from quite a bang average dating life for most of your adult life. Like my relationships were bang average at best, and it was always with women I thought I could get rather than the ones I actually wanted. And I would see women that I wanted to talk to, but I always rejected myself on their behalf because I assumed, well, why would she want me, right? Like what would I gain by approaching this woman? Or everybody's going to be approaching it, or her DMs are going to be flooded. And it's like, even if that is true, like who gives a fuck, you know? And what I found in my experience anyway, is the hottest women are the easiest to approach, especially in the day, because nobody approaches them. Oftentimes, the hottest women will give you the best reactions because they're just crying out for it. it's usually the mediocre girls who'll give the worst reaction because they think it's some sort of joke. Like, me? Really? Seriously? Or in a city like London, they might just be getting approached more than the average girl because most guys think, oh, I can get her. It's not like I want her. It's just like, I think I can get her. So approaching the hottest women, I think, is a cheat code because they also get it as well. So in my experience, I can have way more ballsy, audacious, just like just ballsy conversations with the hottest girls. Like, they just get it. So I would say if you're somebody at the moment and you have this fallacy in your mind that you can attract a certain echelon of woman, I would say one of the best things you can do is just set the intention this week to approach every single woman who you consider to be out of your league. And through exposure therapy, you'll gain more reference experience, you'll gain more face time with the feminine. And then you'll most likely realize, like, once you've actually started dating these women as well, you realize they still need to take a shit at the end of the day. They've still got their own insecurities, they've still got their own doubts. They're comparing themselves to women who are even hotter than them. So yeah, I think sometimes just humanizing this whole thing. Like, yeah, her DMs might be rife, but usually it's just with simpy dudes anyway. So I think once you've unlocked a skill like daytime call approach, it does separate you from pretty much every other guy on the planet, but don't fall into the comfort trap where you just get very comfortable approaching a certain type of woman because you think you can get them. I fell into this trap as well, so there's no shame there. But I think having this obsession with progression and continuing to just move beyond and push the boundaries, and that applies to everything in life as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, whenever you start to get comfortable, I think it's important to set new goals, to constantly be chasing higher standards. Because otherwise, like, what's the fucking point? Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't want to stay static. We always want to be, continuing to evolve and improve. It was the great John Milton quote, which is, "Evil is a knowledge that believes itself complete." So just start approaching the hottest women because they're the easiest to approach. Number 8, the 8th thing that I did was I just stopped overcomplicating cold approach. Again, this is at the heart of my thesis, anti-game artistry, that when I was first learning cold approach, and even today as well, I just think, I don't know if you agree with this, but everyone's just overcomplicating it. They've got these long videos about conversational techniques, and they've got their verbal game, and they're telling you about old school game advice, pushing, pulling, vibing, stacking. They're telling you about DHV and DLV. I'm like, motherfucker, this is just a bunch of bollocks. Like, no wonder guys are feeling in this analysis paralysis, because it's like, you want to go out there, you want to approach. Most men today are frustrated because they currently lack love from the feminine. You want to connect. You're probably lonely. And your head's just ballooning with all this information. And that's why I think one of the best things I've learned is you don't have an information problem. You've got an implementation problem. I came to this realization, and the guys who I work with came to this realization as well. After a while, you realize that free videos are just pointless, right? Even though I make content online, the whole point I make these videos is to get clients, is to show my credibility to the world, and say to people, listen, my product is really fucking great. I've already helped over 200 guys. You can see the testimonials below this video. Evidence has got the loudest voice. But the whole point of this channel is to bring people into my orbit, right? It's content marketing, right? I'm very transparent about this. But watching free videos and expecting your life to change is like watching another guy bench press and expecting to get a massive chest by never touching a weight. Yeah, free videos can be useful to give you inspiration, motivation, and to prove somebody's credibility, but they're not going to move the needle, right? That's what I got to that stage where I was watching content online. I was watching The Natural Lifestyles. Shout out James Marshall, absolute legend. And I realized that just watching these videos was not going to change my dating life. It was kind of like sniffing a condom wrapper and expecting to lose my virginity, right? I'm like, I actually need to go out into the field and put this into action. And once I just stopped overcomplicating it, once I just set the intention to go out, focus on the open, all cold approach comes down to is open and close. You don't need to be a master conversationalist. You don't need to learn 100 pages of old school game. You don't need to memorize pages of lines and scripts and routines. You don't need to make up stories about being some high value dude on a yacht. You just need to go over and approach 100 women. That's it. yeah, and just focusing on the open, just focusing on blowing these women away in the first couple of seconds. Because I think the less information you've got, the more empty-headed you can be in the approach. You're replicating it, yeah. And again, if you want to have a deep dive into the full system, the system that my clients pay me thousands of dollars to help them implement, Anti-Game Artistry, link below. It'll take you to my landing page, and you can gobble up the free training that I put out there. But yeah, I just stopped overcomplicating it, dude. I'm like, okay, I'm a man, she's a woman. Almost like being the cultured caveman. I think this is why low IQ guys do really well with women, because they're not in their heads overthinking it, right? They're not trying to intellectualize a primal thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is stupidly straightforward at the end of the day. It's go over, say something, filter for reciprocity. If she likes you, great, move forward. If she doesn't like you, wish her a good day, move on. So yeah, just stop overcomplicating it. I think if you're anything like me, you probably resonate with simplicity. Yeah, you probably reject all of this nonsense online, which has you pretending or masquerading as some high value dude or some street performer, some dancing monkey. Like, you probably don't want that shit, right? If you're a successful guy, you don't have the time to be pissing away, turning Call Approach almost into a second job, right? You just want something which is simple, efficient, and reliable, which is what my system, Anti-Game Artistry, is. I would say it's the most simple and efficient cold approaching system ever developed, because we just focus on two things, which is open and close. Again, link below, you can access the training. It'll walk you through how it works and how it's already worked for over 200 guys. Number 9, oh, this is a good one. The 9th thing that I did to make cold approach easy was I started posting my infield videos on YouTube. So the thing I love the most about the internet is unforgiving, right? So the internet does not give a fuck about me. And the beautiful thing about the internet is people can hide behind anonymous profiles, meaning they will just say what they think and they will speak their truth. And I wasn't prepared for this. And I don't care what anybody says. Any person who creates content online, once you start getting a decent amount of traction, you will start to attract attention from people who just don't like you. And I found, for a multitude of reasons, something like daytime call approach really seems to trigger guys, okay? It's a triggering topic for guys. Like, if you've got a guy who is not getting laid, he's very unhappy with himself, and if he sees someone like me who's very animated, seems to be very full of himself, posting videos online, I make myself quite an easy target. But I don't care what anyone says. No human being is equipped for the level of verbal onslaught that social media platforms provide. And I'm so grateful to my former self for posting my videos early, because I think doing Call Approach and YouTube simultaneously, it made a man out of me, because I was getting rejected on the streets, and then I would post videos and I would get people who were commenting on my videos being like, you're ugly, you're a 4 out of 10 at best, you look physically disadvantaged, why are you wasting these women's time, you should not be doing this, you should not be teaching, blah, blah, blah. So I was getting let's just say, the sweet commentary from many different sides. And I wasn't equipped to deal with it when I first started. I thought I would have been, but I wasn't. I was very emotional. I took things to heart. But it was a rite of passage for me, because as soon as I started posting my infield videos online, I was getting feedback that it might have not been what I wanted to hear, but it was what I needed to know. So guys would critique me on my style, my conversations, my weird facial gestures that I used to have. I used to be very erratic in my call approach conversations. Again, just go back, watch the earliest videos on my channel. I used to stand with this very wide leg stance, like Cristiano Ronaldo about to take a free kick. I don't know why I used to do that, by the way. I used to have a very odd nature. I still do to an extent, but I've learned to just amplify my authenticity better now. But posting these infield videos on YouTube, it gave me feedback from it gave me feedback from the world, and it was feedback that I needed, because even though I was getting coached, even though I'd invested into my own self-development, there's just some very pleasant brutality about the YouTube comment section, which I don't think you can't really replicate it. So posting these infield videos, I got feedback. I really got no bullshit feedback from people who didn't like me, who didn't know me, who didn't give a flying fuck about me. And that was fuel, and that really helped me. And now when I work with my guys one-on-one, I'm not as brutal as Leaf Blower 595. But I still give people that no bullshit feedback, because if people have invested a shitload of money into me and into my community, I want to get you results. Yeah, I want to get you to where you want to get to. So that's why I tell people what they need to know rather than what they want to hear. That's why I do get the best client results in industry, because I push people hard. My coaching experiences are intense. You're going to get pushed in to over 100 approaches in 3 days. And it's not for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart. I think if you're easily offended, if you're a snowflake, if you struggle when it comes to taking feedback, I say you need to be coachable. You know what I mean? I think that's why I attract a certain type of individual: entrepreneurs, business owners, high performing, busy professionals. They're guys who understand they've got to a place where they just need somebody to tell it to them straight. I would say that's one of my biggest superpowers, because I respond very well to that. I do now anyway. When I was first getting critiqued online, I wanted to cry into my heart-shaped pillow, but it did me good. I think more men today need that. I think more men just need to be metaphorically ripped apart verbally and then rebuilt from the ground up. But I also understand not everybody's ready for that, and it's kind of it's individual, isn't it? Again, this video is just what's worked for me. I'm not saying that this stuff is going to work for you. Maybe you need a more delicate approach, because I think the thing is as well, though, it's quite a big deal for guys to actually reach out for help in this area of life. So I'm not saying I'm some like out of control dictator. Like, I do have empathy because I see my former self in my clients as well. But I do understand it can feel like a big deal to reach out for help in more of this delicate area of your life. But what I would say to that is, like, even if you decide not to work with me, I would definitely suggest you do reach out to work with somebody, because cold approach is not a solo sport. It's a team sport, and it's also an extreme sport. Shout out to Joseph for that banger of a quote. But it is a delicate area of life. But that same hesitation you've got to reaching out for help in this area of life is the same hesitation you have to approaching that girl. There's shame attached to it somewhere. And the more you can just say, fuck it, penetrate through that shame and just say, yeah, I might not be where I want to be right now, but I know with the right guidance, with the right feedback, and with the right amount of reps, I can get there. It's just overcoming resistance one step at a time. So, but I do understand it. I've been coached myself. I never really had that shame though, because I was like, yeah, this is just a skill that I want to learn, dude. Like, I just want to get really fucking good at it. I kind of put my ego to one side. I was like, yeah, I just want to get great at daytime call approach. Like, dating apps have never worked for me. Nightclubs are closed at the moment, and I can't get women through my social circle because I've got no fucking friends. So it was kind of like, daytime approach became my only viable option, and I knew I wasn't going to learn the skill on my own. So I started getting coached in London. I was doing my approaches, I was getting myself recorded, I was putting myself out there, I was critiquing myself, and then brick by brick, I just started to get a bit better. So yeah, I put my infields out on YouTube. Number 10, I've already kind of said that. Probably one of the biggest shifts in me was just getting coached, just investing into myself. Like I say, the more we invest, the more committed we become. I think having a fresh perspective or somebody else to give me the feedback, like getting coached by somebody who'd already had years of experience in this space. I also got coached in London as well. I do think London is the best city to learn the skill of daytime approach. If you're in the UK, learn in London. That's why I do pretty much all of my coaching in London now, because it's just the best city. It'll give you everything you need to crack through those first 100 approaches. It's got the volume, it's got the vibe, it's got the viciousness as well. Like, people in London, they don't give a fuck about you. So you need to have something about you. But yeah, number 10 was I just started getting coached because I knew I didn't know what I didn't know. And I was either going to pay with money or I was going to pay with time. And I was like, okay, I might not have a lot of money right now, but this is just going to take me too long to figure out on my own because there's just too many moving parts. Even though I'd been a magician for a decade, I thought my magic ability would translate into dating success. But what I realized was I just had situational confidence. Okay, so when I didn't have my deck of cards in my hand, I wasn't confident anymore. And people kind of think, oh, but if you're a magician, then getting women would have been easy. It's like, yeah, but I was a pussy inside. I still hadn't developed that masculine edge. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, just go back and watch my oldest videos. I was quite a feminized little prick. So yeah, get coached. Number 11 was I stopped viewing attraction as a performance. Yeah, attraction is not something you perform, it's something you reveal. And again, this is why old school game advice is just kind of weird and convoluted and just a bunch of bollocks. Is because it makes you pretend to be something that you're not. Yeah, it forces you to wear a mask. But what happens is the woman who you approach, she falls for an idea of you rather than the actual you. And at some point, the mask is going to slip. So what I teach with anti-game artistry is the amplification of your authenticity. So rather than going out there trying to be everything to everybody, you polarize. And instead, you're trying to be the right somebody for the right somebodies. Yeah, you're just going into that approach, big set of balls, saying, this is me, take it or leave it. The right women are going to be attracted. The wrong women are going to be repelled. And that's why I believe the best dating strategy you can employ is to be repulsive. Be repulsive, right? Not in some vulgar, obnoxious way, although if that's your edge, then fucking go for it. Repulsive meaning you repel the people who were never meant for you in the first place. Because I think that something that I've learned is a big thing that holds guys back in dating is they try and be universally attractive. They want every woman to like them, but not every woman is going to want you. And in fact, most women are just not going to want you. And when you first have that realization, it can be quite sad because it kind of pops your fantasy of what old school game would have taught you, like 5 easy tricks to get any woman into bed. It's like you just realize it's just a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of marketing. You can't get any woman. You can get your women. And that's what you're going out there for. You're going out to filter for your fuck yeses. And then through the lens of anti-game artistry, you don't see it as rejection. You see rejection as a filter, right? Because if you polarize, if you go over, you declare your desire, you do everything right, you show up as you are, if those women are just not interested, that's okay because it's a filter doing its job. And that's why my clients, they're not running game, they're running a filter. They're simply going out into the wild and they're filtering for their fuck yeses. For me, she's either a fuck yes or she's a fuck no. I don't believe in this stupidity of, oh, you just need to game her more. Oh, just keep talking. Oh, game is played with the maybe girls. It's like, motherfucker, I'm too busy to be wasting my time on fucking maybe girls. And you probably are as well. Like, you don't have time to be wasted on dead leads which don't transpire into anything, right? You want women who just like you for you. And that's why the game is simply about open and close. It's not about long-winded conversations. It's not about hyper social conversational gambits. It's not about push-pull vibe stack. It's let's go over to find out if we're compatible, if there's a vibe there. Fuck yes or fuck no. So yeah, I just stopped viewing attraction as a performance. I realized one day the mask was going to slip. I used to hide behind humor as well because I was insecure. I wanted every woman to like me. I wanted universal approval. Deep down, I had a fear of the feminine because I was like, if this woman doesn't like me, then it means no woman's going to like me, because I didn't really have good relationships growing up. I kind of started to use call approach as a way of getting all my needs met, my social needs met, my sexual needs met, approval, validation seeking. It's just such a long journey, but it's just one of the most beautiful journeys you can undertake is daytime call approach. I do see it as a spiritual practice. It holds a mirror up to who you are. And for most guys, they look away. One of my German friends said, you can never judge a man until you've seen him in set. I think that's a very poignant quote. Because it's true. You can talk a big game. You can act like you're Billy Big Bollocks. We've all got those friends who, down the pub, they're chatting shit. They're saying, oh, I could approach any woman in the day when they've got like 8 pints of Guinness down them. But like when they're in Covent Garden in the middle of the day, when people are watching, it's a different person then. So it does hold a mirror up to who you are as a man. And that's why I do think it's the most aggressive form of self-development because it will illuminate a path forwards. So, but yeah, I stopped viewing attraction as a performance. Number 12 was, don't stay on the streets. This was a big one for me. The thing that gets you here won't get you there. That's a really great quote that one of my mentors said to me once. Like, the streets are great for your training ground, but for fuck's sake, don't get stuck there. Like, one of my mantras is learn day game, don't become a day gamer. Like, the whole thing with daytime approach is you're just simply learning how to leverage the value that you've built. You're learning how to open. You're learning how to initiate. You don't need to stay on the streets. Like, once you've developed proficiency with daytime approach, meaning you can open, you can close, you can go on dates, you can have magical experiences, just start leveraging it in more warm social environments. So in the Entourage, we talk about building relative social kingdoms. So there might be a cafe that you are a regular at. There might be dance events you're a regular at. You might be organizing your own events. This is what guys in the Entourage do. We've got guys in the Entourage. One guy that I'm thinking of in particular, he came to me and he was coming out of a 4-year dry spell, right? He'd not even sniffed a woman for 4 years. And after working with me, not only has he leveraged the skill of daytime approach to have multiple girlfriend experiences, he's bought properties in different parts of the world now, but now he's organizing his own party. He's even creating a compelling Instagram profile, going full on Pimpstagram, Dan Bilzerian mode. And this was a guy that was in a 4-year dry spell, low on confidence, had hit rock bottom, was in a toxic relationship for many years, which just knocked his confidence. And now he's hosting his own events. He's having these girlfriend experiences. He's hosting these fucking wild parties in different parts of the world. And I think this is how the skill should be used. you learn it on the streets, but you don't stay on the streets. It's almost like the streets are your dojo to gain your stripes. And then once you've done with the streets, find other places you can start leveraging it. Because I think if you've also got an international lifestyle, like many of the guys in the entourage, they are entrepreneurs, yeah? So they can travel to wherever they want. That's just a beautiful combination. If you can approach people and you can also travel, like most people can't do both. I meet a lot of these guys on my travels where you'll meet the digital nomads and they've got location freedom, but they've not got social freedom. So they can easily book a flight to wherever they want to go to, but it's like wherever you go, there you are. You know what I mean? So you might have location freedom, but do you have social freedom? Because once you've got both, which I do think in the modern world of wanting to become a more autonomous, sovereign individual, refuse the programming, refuse being a static spectator in your own life, I think once you've unlocked an international lifestyle, and it's not as hard as people make it out to be. In my most fuckable man course, me and one of our entourage guys, Joseph, talk about how to actually build an international lifestyle step by step. So that might be useful if you're somebody who wants to kind of break out of the monotony that you might be in right now. But yeah, if you can travel and you've also got the skill of daytime approach, which you've learned on the streets, then you leverage that in warm social environments. You can go to your dance classes, you can start to host your own events. Maybe you've got a good group of friends, and maybe you can even start leveraging the skill in bars as well. Like you can leverage it in nighttime, like daytime approach. It can feed perfectly in to the nighttime. You can even use daytime approach as almost like a pre-workout for your night game. Do you know what I mean? If you go out, you do 20 approaches in the day, you're rocking up to whoever's bar in the evening, whilst other people need like 5 shots of Sambuca just to start feeling themselves. You're just rocking up there. You've already done 20 approaches. Maybe you stacked up some dates. Maybe you invited the women you approached to the bar as well, and you're doing some like crazy fucking social circle game, whatever it is. But don't stay on the streets. Learn the skill of daytime approach on the streets. Don't stay on the streets. Because otherwise you do run the risk of just becoming some like low value pickup dude who's just kind of like running up and down Oxford Street. So yeah, having some form of international lifestyle is useful. But again, this is just advice. I might know nothing. Do whatever the fuck you want. It's your life. What else we got? Number 13. Okay, so I already said that one. I realized 3 videos weren't going to fix my problems. Implementation is what you need, not information. So yeah, even if it's not me that you work with, just get somebody to help you, because I got coached. I've got guys in the entourage who were actors in Hollywood. I had guys who were club promoters. I've got guys who run multiple businesses, who just the type of guys that you're thinking, surely you would never need coaching when it came to dating. But the thing that I realized is pretty much everybody needs coaching, dude. Everybody needs it, because we all could do with feedback. We've all got our own blind spots. We all don't know what we don't know. I think the game of life is this obsession with progression. So yeah, if there's anything that you've resonated with me here, awesome. But just find somebody. You know, you might not be in my country, or maybe, I don't know, I'm too expensive for you. But I think just have somebody that can give you some form of coaching, because it'll help you turn decades into days. I would say one important caveat, if you are going to work with a coach, is make sure that the experience doesn't end when the in-person coaching ends. That's really important, because the reason why my coaching is so successful is because the 3 days of in-person coaching is just the start of our transformation, right? Once guys have worked with me one-on-one, they then get plugged into my private community, the Entourage. And the Entourage is like the most capable wingmen on the planet. Okay, we've got a global network now of guys who've been trained personally by me, who are winging with each other, who are buying properties together, who are traveling the world together. Because my concern whenever guys take coaching with Cold Approach is what happens after the coaching. And to my knowledge, I'm the first person in this space who has combined coaching and community to such an elite level that for me now it's a prerequisite. Like, we've got in-person meetups. We hold retreats throughout the year. So not only do our guys get in-person coaching with me, they get access to community, they get invitations to secret worldwide retreats, different locations all across the world. They wing with each other, they can buy houses together. It's like this, we've created a culture. It's not really a community, it's a culture. And you know, before when I was saying that, we've got a lot of shame that we're carrying, but I don't think you overcome shame in isolation. In the same way, you don't think your way towards confidence. So a lot of our guys, they are successful dudes, but the problem is they've been conditioned to think a certain way. They've been conditioned to think that their desires are wrong. They're living their lives like closet heterosexuals. A lot of their current social circle, they almost champion passivity. You know what I mean? Like, if if you've got a group of friends that you're hanging around with right now, they might not be bad people. They just might not be your people because it might be terrible for your growth. Yeah. You might say to them, oh, dude, I want to go out and approach some women in the day-to-day. And they might be like, oh, but that's creepy. That's weird. Like, why would you want to do that? You shouldn't do that. It's wrong. And then that starts to feed these mind viruses into you as well. There's that great quote, which is show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Yeah. And it's not the whole, like, people want to see you do well. They don't want to see you do better than them because it holds a mirror up to who they could have been. But with the entourage, everybody's good. Everybody started off as shit, including myself. And we've all built ourselves through the coaching, through the community, through the meetups. We've all built ourselves into social savages. So now when you join the entourage, you get connected with this network of guys who've been trained by me. They can also help you get better as well because they're going to be a lot more further ahead than you are right now. And it's this beautiful ecosystem. It's this beautiful culture of guys who are winning, guys who want to win more, because when you surround yourself with winners, you win. But make sure if you do get coaching, there is some form of aftercare or community built into that. Otherwise, what will happen is it's kind of like the Tony Robbins experience, where you go to a Tony Robbins event, you feel great for a weekend, and then 2 months later, you're crying on your own in the bath thinking, was it all a dream? So make sure there's some form of aftercare built into it. Otherwise, you'll just end up spending a lot of money, nothing will change, but you've got nothing to show for it. So yeah, but getting coached was just it was just a no-brainer for me. It's like anything, if you want to become great at jiu-jitsu or languages or underwater basket weaving, you just find someone who's better than you, you pay them money and you get there faster. So there's a no-brainer. Number 14, I learned in London. So I kind of addressed this earlier, but yeah, just learning in London was huge for me because I'm not from the city of London. I'm from a very small town in the Lake District. So yeah, big cities always used to intimidate me. But I think learning in London and running all my coaching in London now, London is just an unforgiving city. And you do need to have a thick skin in the city of London. It's a city of 10 million people. So the beautiful thing about London is you can just hop on a train and be in a completely different city. Like it feels like you're in a completely different city. And I think it's awesome. I think it's the best city to learn cold approach because you're going on super busy streets. People are in a rush. People don't give a fuck about you. You need to have something about you. You need to have a thick skin. You need to have this doggedness. I was speaking with one of our entourage guys the other day, and we were talking about qualities that we think if you're going to be successful with cold approach, which I just see as like being successful in life, like what qualities do you need? And we both agreed on the word doggedness. Because you just need to be able to pick yourself up. You need to be able to not lose enthusiasm after going from one perceived failure to another. You need to have this bulletproof bravado. I mean, one of my clients that many of you will know, Ephraim, is a perfect example of that. I worked with him in Warsaw. The guy just didn't stop. The guy was an absolute machine. Yeah, he might have had approach that didn't go his way. He might have had girls that flaked on him. He might have had dates that didn't transpire the way he wanted. He didn't lose enthusiasm. He just kept going. Yeah, because he understood the way you start is not the way you finish. And you only lose when you've decided that you've quit. And I think if you've got that doggedness, this obsession with progression, that no matter what happens, I will become successful. I will achieve the things that I want. It might be delusional at the start. It was delusional for me when I started. Like when I started Daytime Cold Approach 5 years ago, porn addict, erectile dysfunction, hardly any money, didn't really like myself. But it's like, I just prioritized imperfect action. I started before I felt ready. And I think that's been my superpower, but also just that doggedness. Yeah, you might go out today, you might do 20 approaches and they all might just be shit. But if you can train yourself to not lose enthusiasm, if you can train yourself to understand all the approaches are independent of each other, if you understand the reps are the reward, and every approach that you're doing, you are saying to the universe, this is me now, right? You are setting a new standard. You are setting a new normal. You are investing into an identity of the man who you want to embody, that bold risk taker who goes after what he wants rather than settling for what he thinks he can get. But learning in London was great because it allowed me to develop a thick skin. The thick skin that was already developing by putting my infield content out there into the world. I think London amplified that. So if you're in the UK and you want to learn the skill to a high level, then definitely London is the place to be. Because if you're trying to learn somewhere like Leeds, it's just not going to give you the volume necessary. I remember at the start of last year, me and Ephraim went to Cyprus, one of the places that we're at, Paphos. I think it was 40,000 people? So there's only so much you can do. Like after a while, environment does become the biggest limiting factor. That's why having an international lifestyle is important, because you don't want to get defined by your logistics. So yeah, a lot to be said there. But I do think London is the best city to learn the skill in 2025. And then number 15, I tested myself in new territories. So I think it's easy to get comfortable in a city where you're getting results. But because my intention has always been to be the best in the world at Daytime Approach, I just wanted to test myself in new places. So this year I ended up going to Oslo, which was probably one of the most challenging cities I've ever been to. I'm just going to take a sip of this coffee. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, just drop it a like. I'm probably going to be on for another hour. I've been talking a lot, so my vocal cords are feeling quite fried, but fried like Steven. I'm just going to take a sip of this coffee, just take a little, take a little break, 2 minutes. If you're watching this back on the replay, by the way, you can just skip it forward until I've stopped drinking. Nice. We have this, it's not a dildo. We have this thing. We use this. We use it to keep the door open. That's how we do things in the Lake District. We don't need doorstop. Just stick a bit of wood in. That could easily be a euphemism as well. But I tested myself in new cities. So at the start of this year, I was in Oslo. Yeah, and Oslo was a super challenging city because daytime call approach was not really normal practice in Oslo. So a lot of women were looking at me like I was some sort of crazed psychopath. Like, why are you approaching me? This is really weird. Like in Norwegian culture, approaching a woman stone cold sober during the day, it's just not common practice. I was in Rio. I spent a couple months in Rio at the start of 2022. Very different to London. Very different. I would say somewhere like Rio, it's more less words the better. It's more about feeling. It's more about escalation. It's more about physical touch, eye contact, the non-verbal side. I would say I really learned that in Rio because I was somebody that used to put a lot of emphasis on verbal game because I was insecure. Yeah, I would say a lot of people who teach game online, a lot of the things that they teach, I think it's almost defense mechanisms for insecurity or smoke screens for insecurity. Because I put a lot of emphasis on conversation skills. I used to hide behind humor. I used to attach a lot of importance to my verbal game because I just didn't feel as though I felt without it, the women wouldn't want me because I 5 years ago, I didn't look the way that I look now. So I didn't feel as though I had enough going for me to justify why these women would like me. So I was trying the whole like verbal bamboozlement, really nailing my conversational abilities. And I'm happy I did that because I do have great conversation skills now, but it's almost like Picasso. Picasso learned to paint like Raphael in about 4 years, but he got to a point where he achieved such a level of artistic mastery that he almost learned it all and then he forgot it all. It's like it took me 4 years to paint like Raphael and then a lifetime to paint like a child. And I think if you look at Picasso's work, he went from the artistic to the abstract. Like he could create these beautiful masterpieces. He could do all of the technicality and all that shit. But then he got to a point where he's like, you know what? I just want to rip this whole thing up and I want to just do some like random cube shit. It's kind of the same thing for me. It's like I learned it all and then I forgot it all. I stopped hiding behind the mask. I stopped hiding behind humor. I stopped hiding behind my verbal bamboozlement. I actually put more emphasis on the non-verbals. If you watch my infield content now, the biggest difference between what I'm doing now and what I was doing 5 years ago is actually I'm just doing less. I'm just doing less. And now I would say my non-verbals, that kind of is my approach now. Because most of my seduction is happening in the non-verbals. But 5 years ago, everything was happening verbally. But I wouldn't even classify what I was doing 5 years ago as seduction. It was more, I don't know what you could call it. It was just shit. No, it was like social orchestration. I was just like very good at being social. It was very high energy. I was very good at being liked. I didn't really want to rock the boat. You can just see it. I was just very insecure. I'm a 23-year-old kid. What do you expect? But now I would say I've kind of just developed more of this grounded gravitas where my emphasis now is just on non-verbals, like walking over to the woman, lower vocal tonality. Some people say I sound like a robot now. I don't think I do. I think I've just got very good at doing less. So I speak slower, I'm more grounded, and I'm making the eye contact and, understanding as well, becoming fluent in the language of the feminine, recognizing that women are sexual beings. They are craving connection, just like us. It's almost like this, it's like the removal of the pretense now. Because when I'm looking at women, it's like there's no facade anymore. It's like, it's okay, I get it. And this is okay, this is cool. I've given myself permission to be a heterosexual man. I'm not in the closet anymore. I'm not closet heterosexual. I think that is conveyed now in my approaches rather than 5 years ago. I was a quintessential closet heterosexual. I was doing everything within my power not to present myself as a sexual being, really weird like hand movements, erratic energy, high energy, like street performer energy. But I think that was a rite of passage for me. But being in different locations really helped with that. Oslo teaches me, put my teeth back in. Oslo taught me more about social calibration, so being able to read the room more, understanding what the moment wanted. Rio taught me more about non-verbal mastery, and also being in a more dangerous environment as well. I thought that was good for me. Being in a place that I never imagined I would be. I think it put hairs on my chest. Really happy for that experience. And then going to places like Eastern Europe as well, where the culture is more masculine. The guys are more no bullshit. The women respond to more of that just unpolluted masculinity. So I think all these places that I've been to, because I've solo traveled to over 30 countries now, they've all taught me something new about myself, about women, about intersexual dynamics. And I kind of bring all of that experience together. And now when I'm working with my guys one-on-one, it's almost like I know the exact country that they need installed into them. So I might be working with a guy and he might have great conversation skills, but he needs a bit of Rio inside of him. He needs a bit of Rio. He needs to more grounded, more non-verbal, more intimacy in the eye contact. Or I might work with a guy who is kind of really good with the non-verbals, but maybe his conversations feel a little bit flat. I'm not trying to remold people in my image. I'm more a fan of amplifying what's already authentic to them. So if they are more low energy, great, we'll leverage that. But if I feel as though his conversations could be spiced up a little bit by having a little bit more flirtation, or just a little bit more FaceTime with the girl before he goes for the clothes, and I can install that into him very easily. But I think that's a good point as well. Like, I think a lot of times online, you almost get a lot of conflicting advice. Like, one guy might be saying, oh, you need to be more playful. Another guy might be like, oh, you need to be more alpha. Another guy might be like, you need to be more grounded. Really, you just need to be whatever feels natural to you. And then you can just sprinkle in a little bit more to make more of the full package, approach and seduction-wise. Do you know what I mean? Because if you are more of an introverted, analytical guy, I think the worst thing I can say to you is, right, you need to completely change your personality now and become some street performer, because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel natural for you. I'd much rather you amplify what's authentic to you and then just sprinkle in a little bit of conversational seasoning to make sure you're the full package. But I say that's another reason why the guys I work with get the results that they do, because I'm not trying to mold them into what I think they need to be. I find out who they are. That's why I do one-on-one coaching, not group coaching bollocks. Because with group coaching, you don't really get to find out who the individual is. When I do one-on-one, I get to know my clients on a deep level. I'm like, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's what I would suggest you implement in your next approach so you can bring more of yourself into the conversation. Because I don't know if you've ever had it where you've approached a girl and it felt like you were missing in that approach. It felt like you didn't really bring yourself into that approach. You might have been hiding behind a smokescreen of uncertainty. You might have been trying out things that you read online. You might have been trying to give off more of this high energy, platonic street performer energy, not because you wanted to, but because of you kind of got brainwashed into doing that. So I think it's important to just find out, right, what is my style here? Am I more serious? Am I more grounded? Am I more playful? And then leverage that in your approaches. Do it 100 times. And then if you can, record the audio of your conversations as well. So it gives you a point of reference and you know what you're shit at. Because there's probably a lot of things you don't know, what you don't know right now. You might be talking too fast. You might be giving off a platonic gay best friend vibe like I used to do. You might not give the girl long enough to answer. Maybe you're not going for closes. So maybe you got really good at opening, but now you developed closing anxiety. It's like, oh, it's weird if I go for a phone number. No, it's more weird if you just walk off into the distance. It's like, well, what was all that about? Like, was the guy gay? Like, go for the number. So open and close. That's what it comes down to. But record the audio of your conversations, because then it will give you a point of reference. So yeah, that's what I did as well. What else are we on? Testing myself in new territories, did that. Number 16 was, this is a good one. This is more of like an unconventional piece of advice, but I actually just stopped approaching. Yeah, the way that I actually made my cold approach is better. I just stopped approaching. And what I found was, because I'd put so much reps in for the best part of 4 years, once I took a long break, it almost allowed me to recalibrate, and I came back completely fresh. I think I'll call this the guilt trap. I think a lot of guys fall into this, where you almost get to a point where you feel guilty not for approaching. It's like you put so much reps in, you've invested so much time and energy into the skill, then it feels like it's wrong to not approach. And you start feeling guilty if you're not doing it. But some of the biggest strides that I've made have been when I've just stopped approaching. That doesn't mean I'm just like locking myself in a room and
not talking to anybody. I'm continuing to be social, but I'm just not attaching importance to doing cold approach. We've got one of our guys in the entourage who did a 30-day immersion last summer, and he was saying that by the third week, he was just on godly frequency. He could just like open anybody. He was having all these crazy experiences, just like instant pulls, and it's like fucking mad. But it was like by the end of that, he just needed a break. He just needed time to decompress, to do other things, to be social, but not in a cold approach setting. But then he was like, I started to feel guilty for not approaching because I've been approaching so often. He started seeing every woman as an opportunity, which is great. It's a nice problem to have. But I do think almost like living this like you are an athlete. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got your off season where you rest and you recover, you replenish. So you don't need to be doing it all of the time. I do think you want to have an obsession period. I would say having a 90-day obsession period where you just say, for the next 90 days, I'm going to devote myself entirely to the skill of daytime approach. So, in these 90 days, approach as much as possible. If you want to consume some content, I think when you are going out there and you are taking action deliberately and consistently, if you want to watch a little bit of theory in the evenings, then fucking good luck to you. You've earned your stripes there. But have like an obsession period where cold approach does become your focus. Like you are just investing everything into getting the skill, but then take a break. Yeah, learn the skill, forget about the skill for a little bit, do other things, go traveling, just be social, spend time with friends, do hobbies that you enjoy. Get your needs met elsewhere. Otherwise, you fall into the guilt trap of thinking you always need to be doing it. And I found that after these breaks, I just have the best content filming sessions ever because I feel fully recharged. I've been in Bangkok and I've been doing my Muay Thai, training there like an absolute savage, spending time with my girlfriend. And by the time I get back, I'm like, right, let's go. Let's fucking go. I'm ready now. But I think if you're just doing cold approach and nothing else, it's kind of like, you might be on a date with a girl and she's like, oh, what do you do? And it's like, oh, I kind of just like approach girls and watch Christian Casanova videos. What about you? And she's like, yeah, same. So I think you do need a break after a while. But yeah, if you've got some form of like thing to look forward to, I think that's also useful. Like when people get in shape for weddings, it's like if you've got a trip to Brazil scheduled in 92 days, just immerse yourself in daytime cold approach for the next 90 days. And then you're going to go to Brazil and you're probably going to be the most social person in that fucking country because you've just been putting reps in for all that time. So it's kind of the same thing. And number 17, I went from a shotgun to a sniper. So when you're first cold approaching, you're kind of just doing reps for the sake of doing reps because you need to develop the skill. But after a while, I'd say after you've had that 90-day obsession period, you can go from a shotgun, meaning you're just approaching anything, to a sniper, meaning you're more deliberate with your approaches. One of our guys in the entourage, he posted a really great message into our private WhatsApp group yesterday. And it was a difference between women he could approach and women he would approach. Because I do think you get to a certain level with cold approach where you see women and yeah, you could approach them. You could do it for the rep, but you've kind of passed that point now. You don't need to keep putting points on the board unnecessarily. So then you just get to a point where you are more deliberate. It's more of, right, would I approach her? And then as long as you're taking the ones that you really would approach, then I think that's a good way to remove the guilt because, like we say, you don't want to view every woman as approachable once you've got proficiency. I think you want to be more selective. And then it's not about counting your approaches, it's making your approaches count. So going from the shotgun to the sniper, once you've developed proficiency, once you can get dates, once you can get happy endings, once you've realized I've got this skill now, it's not going anywhere, just being more deliberate with your approaches and having this filter between could I approach, meaning I could just do it for the rep, or would I approach, meaning fuck yes, I need to go in there. So that was big for me as well. That helped me overcome the guilt that you don't need to be approaching every woman. You just want to be approaching your women once you've developed the skill. Number 18 is I became more fuckable. So yeah, you can probably tell if you've watched the earlier content on my channel. I didn't used to look that good, and the internet made me aware of that, and I felt sad. But after a while, I was like, okay, well, it's in my power to change that. Okay, there is a big difference between being good looking and looking good, and it's within any man's power to improve upon what he's been given and play his hand to the best of his ability. Sorry, I just spat at you. Get the foreplay stat already, Christian. So you can improve yourself, right? Fitness and fashion, two easy things that you can start to improve, right? So I think a lot of guys have got this thing like, oh, do looks matter? Yes, they matter, but looking good isn't open, right? Looking good will buy you 20 seconds of a woman's attention, but it doesn't sell the product. What sells the product is who you are and not what you have. Because you could be a male model, you could look the part, but if you lack conviction, if you lack leadership, if you're a flannel on the inside, if you don't know how to take charge, if you don't know how to dominate, if you don't know how to approach with conviction and escalate, and all of these beautiful masculine traits that really get women going, then you're just kind of another good-looking guy who doesn't know what he's doing, right? This is why I think, something like the black pill is dangerous for men, because it assumes that male and female attraction triggers are the same. They're not. Now, of course, women like looking at nice things. We all enjoy beauty. Of course we do. We all enjoy looking at beautiful things. The sunset is nice. But to make the assumption that male and female attraction triggers are the same is stupid. Because what I found to be true in my own life, and by talking with other guys, and I say even better, talking with women, especially when you're in bed with them, is you realize the things women are attracted to are very different. And they seem to be more attracted to narrative, like psychological stimulation, like actually falling into a fantasy, viewing you as a fantasy, rather than just men who I think are attracted more by novelty and opportunity and visuals. I think women, they are obsessed more with the psychological, the drama. If you look at the novels that they read, like 50 Shades, they like the idea of being with a powerful man. And that's nice, that's great. But I think if you can understand more the attraction triggers or the personality traits which are associated, I think that is probably more important than just making your face look a little bit more symmetrical, right? Because the problem is men become like women and they focus way too much on their looks. Like, leave that to the women. Like, you can focus on your looks, of course. I've done that. Like, everybody, I think you want to feel as good as possible internally and externally. But I think the problem is if guys are just improving the external, their internal still needs to catch up and they can still feel like the ugly duckling on the inside. I don't know if you've ever looked at the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, but that's kind of the thesis of that book, where he's talking about people who get plastic surgery and it doesn't fix the internal conflict that's going on the inside. So yes, looks matter, and you should do everything within your power to look and feel as good as possible. But don't think just because you've improved your looks, you're going to improve your dating life. Women care more about who you are, not what you have. Looking good is an open. It will buy you attention. It doesn't sell the product. So I do feel sorry for guys who've gone down that black pill rabbit hole. And I think everybody's got a different starting point as well. Like, some guys do just have it easier than others. But I think, what are you going to do about it? Do you know what I mean? I think the best thing you can do is, like, if you think you are a guy who has been dealt a bad hand, I'd say just find other people who you can resonate with and find examples of people who've done the thing that you want to do. Yeah, because I always get comments from guys who are like, oh, Christian, I'm Indian, so I've heard that is a disadvantage for me in dating. What should I do? And my advice is always the same, dude. I'm not Indian. I'm not going to pretend to know what it's like to be an Indian guy or a Chinese guy or a black guy. I don't have that life experience. And I think it would be immature of me to pretend that I have. So that's why on my channel, I provide examples of guys like Japanese guys, black guys, Indian guys, and I get them to lead by example. I get them to talk to the people on my channel, because I'm not an Indian guy. I'm not a black guy. I'm not a Japanese guy. So I think it would be wrong of me to be like, oh, here's like 3 steps you should do as an Indian guy or a Japanese guy. I would say watch the videos on my channel of guys who might be more aligned with you as a person. Or if my content doesn't resonate with you, just find someone else, another coach online, or maybe another person in your city, or somebody on social media who is similar to you and is living the life that you want to live. Because I think success is contagious. If you can see someone else doing the thing that you want to do and they are aligned with you as a person, I think that's more valuable. So yeah, I hope that's kind of useful. Like, looks do matter. They're not the be all and end all. You need to also leverage the masculine traits associated with attraction and seduction. So dominance, leadership, bold, risk-taking behavior, decisiveness, the ability to go after what you want with unapologetic, no bullshit desire. Like, all this stuff is, you've got it all. Again, it's there. It's just buried beneath years of social conditioning, bullshit, primitive wiring. So it's there. And again, the system that I created, Anti-Game Artistry, it is about this. It's about the removal of the unnecessary. It's getting you back to your core. Again, I'm way more coherent. The video below, it'll take you to the free training, Anti-Game Artistry. It'll walk you through the entire system. that my clients pay me thousands of dollars to help them implement. Anti-game artistry, first link in the video. It'll take you to my landing page. There's a 28-minute video. It's really nicely edited as well. Very proud of it. And that'll just walk you through the system, how it works, who it's for, and if it can work for you as well. So yeah, there's a link below. Click it, and that'll do you wonders. So became more football. Number 19 is liberated nihilism. Yeah, this is kind of like one of my overriding life philosophies. So liberated nihilism. This was a way that it really helped me make cold approach easy, because I understood that, in 100 years, none of this is going to matter. So why am I living my life in fear? I don't want to die with my music still inside of me. Macbeth, scene 3, life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, then is heard no more. It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So, we get an hour upon this stage. And I do understand that when you are out there in the field, it can be difficult to internalize these beliefs and these thoughts. But if you do understand that, a mindset that I have is, in 20 years from now, if I'm looking back at my life, or when I'm 80 years old looking back at my life, I don't want to live with regret. I don't want to think, what if, yeah? So I'm living my life now, like, just from this place of liberated nihilism, which is understanding that nothing matters in the most liberating way possible. So whilst we're alive on this stage and we get 1 hour, let's not die with our music still inside of us. And I think, when guys work with me, they join the entourage, they get surrounded by this energy. They get surrounded by liberated nihilists in the best way possible. Like, we're all living for the moment. Do you know what I mean? Carpe diem. Because we don't know when our cars are going to be cold. Like, I've had people in my family who've passed away this year. And I think, I don't know, it makes you realize, like, a lot of the small things, like, just don't really sweat the small stuff. Like, girl doesn't text you back. Like, girl flakes on you. Girl doesn't turn up to the date. Every approach today was shit. It's just kind of like, it just is. Do you know what I mean? It's like, nothing is good nor bad. It's the thinking that makes it so. And even if it's not true, we make it true by believing in it. So I do think perception is reality. And I think we can attach whatever interpretation we want to these events. So yeah, I often just think about myself like, being some like 80-year-old guy who's like dribbling into a sock thinking, those were the best years of my life. Like when I was making those live streams, when I was traveling the world, when I was approaching, when I was fucking, just when I was mobile, when I was healthy. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I just think liberated nihilism is this really great reframe that we don't have as much time as we think, and life is going to pass us by at a lightning pace. And you don't want to be the richest man in the grave either. So yeah, I say just start living like it's your last day. Armageddon approaching. What else? Number 20. Wow, we're halfway now. How long have we been going for? Fuck me, 97 minutes. But yeah, boys, if you're enjoying the stream so far, just do me a favor, drop it a like. Tells me you're enjoying it. I appreciate yours. I have the commitment to you to get to point number 40. So we're going to go all the way to 40. All the way. Yeah. Number 20. We're on number 20 now. Let me just take a sip of this coffee and we'll continue. But yeah, if you're just joining us, my name's Christian and I am a Yeti. So number 20 was surrounding myself with guys who get it. So I've spoke about these guys a lot, the entourage, my private community. So when I coach my guys one-on-one, they also get access to the entourage, which is my private coaching network, a global network of guys who are the most capable wingmen that you'll ever meet. But I think when you've got, like, on a daily basis, if you're surrounded by guys who are crushing it, it changes your perception of what's possible. Like, we've got guys in the entourage who are 52 years old, who are cold approaching in London, who've got multiple women on the go. We've got guys in their 50s who are in long-term relationships with 25-year-olds. We've got guys in the entourage who are 21 years old, who are starting their cold approach odyssey. And then the 50-year-old guys are like, I wish I'd have started sooner. We've got guys who worked in Hollywood. We've got guys who worked in nightlife. We've just got such an interesting amalgamation of characters that I think when I said before, success is contagious, it's like the whole Roger Bannister effect. Like, before Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, no one thought it was possible. But then when he did, everyone started breaking it. So like, if you're a 50-year-old guy and you think that you're too old, all you need to do is plug into the entourage, meet other guys who are in their 50s who are dating 25-year-olds, and that's the Bannister effect. It shifts your reality of what you think is possible. Or you might be a guy in your early 20s and you might think, oh, am I too young for this? Have I not built enough value yet? I was saying before about the optimization trap, and it is a devastating trap that guys fall into. I think a lot of guys have this fallacy that they need to become more high value in order to have a chance with women. Of course, we all want to have this obsession with progression. Evil is the knowledge that believes itself complete. But I think I'm a shining example of just start before you feel ready, because you don't want to fall into this optimization trap where you've got the workout routine, you've got the body, you've got the carefully curated crypto portfolio, but you still can't deliver the value that you've built to these women, right? It's like working your bollocks off to buy a Lamborghini and then being too scared to drive it. So you don't want to have this belief that women fall for what you optimize. They don't. They fall for who you actually are, right? Like we spoke about before, developing these intoxicating masculine character traits, taking a shitload of action, getting pushed way beyond your comfort zone, exposure therapy, doing what terrifies you on a daily basis. This is more important than, tracking the stock market. Of course, we all need cash. I'm not saying, I think, a lot of this is kind of common sense, but again, common sense is not common practice. Yes, work on yourself. Yes, build your character. Yes, build your value, but don't use it as something to hide behind. Yeah, don't use it as a reason why you shouldn't approach women. Oh, I want to start approaching women, but I'm not high value enough yet, or I just need bigger biceps, or I need a 7-figure income. Like, dude, at the end of the day game is the ultimate equalizer. When you're stood with a girl in a cold approach conversation, everything else goes out the window. She doesn't know what your numerical figure in your bank account is. She doesn't know what car you drive in. She doesn't know how well connected you are in the city. She just sees what's in front of her. She just sees who is in front of her. And it's not what you say, it's not how you say it, it's who you are when you say it. This really is a game of identity. It's not about chasing women, it's chasing an identity. It's becoming the version of yourself who cold approach can work for. And also realizing that a lot of these things that you're optimizing at the moment, everything can be made as an excuse. Like, oh, my chest isn't big enough, my business isn't doing that great right now, or my lifestyle isn't where I want it to be. Like, you can still go out and you can still approach, as long as you've got like decent social skills and you're well put together and you're not creeping these women out. Like, it's fine to go out there and just start. And understand as well, like, the version of you who is getting rejected today, it's not going to be the same version of you as getting rejected 2 years from now. I think having a future projection mindset is so important, because that's what I did. Like, when I was starting Call Approach, I understood I wasn't the version of myself that I wanted to be. I understood I wasn't the finished product. I'm still not. I'm still a work in progress like everybody else. But I was like, okay, I can just swallow this shit period for a few years. And now when I look back at the women that were rejecting me 4 years ago, first of all, I don't even remember them. They don't remember me. But it's like, that version of me is not the same version of me who's speaking to you today. So even if you don't feel ready yet, even if you feel as though you haven't got the right financial income or the right amount of muscle mass or the right clothes on your torso, like, just understand that as long as you're not creeping these women out, as long as you're calibrated, as long as you've developed social skills, so you're not a complete sniveling mess, as long as you're not like monstrously out of shape, like fucking Mr. Blobby, then the version of you who gets rejected today is not going to be the same version of you who gets rejected 2 years from now. And also, you might surprise yourself as well, because, the beautiful thing is you don't know what these women are in the market for. They might just be looking for a guy just like you who has the balls to walk over. That's it. They might see you as some striking, charming 23-year-old. Maybe she's 35 and she's like, do you know what? I want to have a bit of fun with this guy today. Fucking good luck to you. But yeah, I would say the optimization trap, it just fuck a lot of guys over. Oh, I'm not ready yet. My life isn't optimized enough. You'll never be fucking ready, dude. It's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Just do the best with what you've got right now. And then over time, you'll continue to compound your success. And then you'll continue to, become more fuckable. Nice. But yeah, I surrounded myself with guys, the entourage. Number 21 is understand the difference between abundance and scarcity. This is huge. I said that I would speak about this earlier on in the stream, but my decision process now is very simple. In the same way that anti-game artistry is built on two very simple components, open and close. The way that I operate life now is, am I making a decision from abundance, or am I making a decision from a place of scarcity? See, whenever guys ask questions like, Christian, what's the best open? How long should I wait to message a girl? Should I hold the door open for a woman, or is that simp behavior? Like, my response is, where's it coming from? Because if it's coming from a place of, I need to do this thing, otherwise I might lose something, that's scarcity. But if it's coming from a place of, I just want to do this because it makes me feel good as a man to do so, that's all you need to understand, right? The decisions that are made from a place of abundance, meaning no matter what happens, I'm okay, they will always defeat decisions made out of a place of scarcity. So if you ever find yourself asking, oh, is it needy to compliment a woman? Is it low value to cold approach? Is it simpy to text a girl 2 minutes after getting her phone number? The answer is yeah, if you're suffocating in scarcity. Like right now, I can make any decision that I want to make. And as long as it's coming from a place of abundance, meaning I'm so full, all I want to do is give, taking this action is actually going to increase my social state, then I win, right? Abundance is the antidote to all of your anxieties. Imagine now somebody wired $30 million into your bank account tax-free, right? Imagine you looked at your online banking and you've got $30 million wired in there tax-free. Imagine how carefree, how generous, how detached from outcome you would be. You'd just be, giving money away. Here you go, homeless guy on the street. Oh, maybe I'll, build a fucking charity. I'll build a school. Like, you just feel abundant. You feel superhuman because you've witnessed a change in your emotional state. So it's kind of the same thing here. It's like you can act as if you've already got 20 beautiful women in your phone who are desperate to go on a date with you, and just feel into that feeling. Yeah, it's like Neville Goddard says, assume the state of the wish already fulfilled. So assume that feeling, act as if, and then just reverse engineer it. Like, how would I act if I already had $30 million in my bank account? How would I act if I had 20 beautiful women who were desperate to go on a date with me? How would I act if I was the best in the world at daytime cold approach? Like, that's what I was doing 5 years ago. I just had delusional optimism that with enough reps, I could become the version of myself who I wrote about in my personal renaissance document. If you don't know what that is, again, download my Most Fuckable Man course. It's in there. Basically teaches you how to rewire your entire internal belief system. But yeah, are you making decisions from a place of abundance, or are you making decisions from a place of scarcity? Scarcity being, if I do this thing, I might lose. Yeah, and most guys are terrified of losing value in the eyes of the feminine, which is why they don't take the action they want to take, because they have a perceived fear of loss. But if you realize, then you either win or you learn something, and it's either going to go well or you've got a funny story, then you'll do well. But yeah, abundance versus scarcity. Number 22, the way you start is not the way you finish. I think this is one of my greatest gifts to the cold approach community, is understanding the way you start is not the way you finish. So I could go out there today, I could do 10 approaches that go shit, and number 11 is fantastic. But usually what happens with guys is they have approaches which don't go their way, and then they spiral into this pit of negativity. But if you can understand, all the approaches are independent of each other. The way you start is not the way you finish. When I'm coaching my guys in the field, the first day of our immersion, the first handful of approaches are typically shit. And then we'll look back at those approaches 5 hours later. I'll be like, do you remember the second approach you did today near Hyde Park? And the guy will be like, no. What was it? Right? So things feel important in the moment. But if you've got a future projection mindset that in 5 hours' time, this is not even going to be remembered anymore, everything's forgettable, it can help you weather that storm, right? So the way you start is not the way you finish. Have that running in your mind when you are going out there to approach. The first 5 approaches might be shit, that's okay. You're only one approach away from everything changing. And that mindset was probably the single most important mindset, which it's just helped me time and time again. Like, you're just one approach away. Even if you've had 8 approaches, 18 approaches, the past 50 approaches you've done have all been terrible. You're just one away from things changing, as long as you understand why the approaches went shit. Because if you're just going out there and you're getting rejected left, right, and center, let's say you've done 200 approaches, not even got a sniff, then it's saying to me that you're not learning. It's like, for me, learning is same circumstances, different behavior, right? Same conditions, different behavior. So it's important that you are actually learning, okay, why did this woman reject me? Was there something about my stop, my energy, my proximity, my verbals, my non-verbals? What's going wrong here? Again, this is why guys work with me, because I just turn decades into days. We just skip all the trial and error. I say to them, right, dude, in the next conversation, you need to talk slower, or you need to stop coming across as this like closet heterosexual. So just lower your tonality. Yeah, lower tonality, stand a little bit closer. And then having that constant feedback allows them to iterate. But if you're just going out there on your own and you've had 200 approaches which have not led to anything, then it's important that you've got some form of feedback so you can learn, okay, why did this not go well? So the way you start is not the way you finish, okay? I think that becomes more applicable once you start to get points on the board, because it's kind of brutal if you're going out there and you're just like constantly putting yourself into approaches and you're just not seeing anything. So again, you don't need to work with me, but I would say just get some form of feedback. it might be starting out just recording the audio of your conversations to give yourself a point of reference. That would be a good idea just to get started with. And then you've got more of a vantage point to find out what's actually going wrong. Number 23, cold approach is not for the faint of heart. Yeah, I was speaking about this before. You do need to be a certain type of character to weather the storm with daytime approach. It's not for the ordinary man. It just isn't. Daytime approach, it's an unforgiving social sport. And I really do think it is for the rebels, the mavericks, and the renegades. I think it's for the guys who are sick of the conditioning, who are sick of playing it safe, who are sick of feeling ordinary like another cog in the system. The reason why I say it's not for normal guys is because you do need almost like a superhuman level of doggedness and conviction and willingness to continue to put yourself in there. Yes, it's a fuck ton easier if you're getting coaching and you're surrounded by like-minded guys. But I think you need to be a certain type of guy to want to get started in the first place, because it's not easy, right? Daytime approach is not easy. It's probably the hardest skill that you're ever going to learn. But that's what appealed to me at the start. I knew it was going to be hard, but like, if it's difficult, do it. That's kind of like one of my overriding mantras. I was attracted to daytime cold approach because I understood most people would quit. It was almost like this like USP, like unique selling point for me of daytime approach, where I don't know. I've always been obsessed with the more obscure side of life. Like, that's why I was a magician for a decade. I was like, magic is kind of weird. It's not something that most people would do. So I want to do it. Same with daytime approach as well. I knew it was going to be hard. I knew I was going to have to be relentless. I knew it wasn't going to be an overnight fix. This is what I make my clients aware of as well. Like, I am fucking fantastic at what I do. I am the best in the world when it comes to getting guys the results that they want. But a personal trainer can't lift the weight for you. You need to want this, right? You need to bring everything to this, because I can bring 100%, but you'll get out what you're prepared to put in. It's not a magic bullet. It's not a quick fix. You're not going to be an overnight success. You're not going to do 10 approaches with me and your life is going to change. This is why I make guys aware of, like, just doing in-person coaching is not enough. You need a community. You need sustained support over a prolonged period. You need accountability. You need to be pushed. You need to be called out on your own bullshit. But I think above all else, you just need to have the willingness to eat shit. Because those are the guys who do the best with daytime approach. It's not the guys who just turn up and get results instantly. It's the guys who can just eat shit, who can just go from one perceived failure to another without losing enthusiasm. These are the guys who crush it. Yeah, it's the guys who play long-term games with long-term people. It's the guys who are just there for a quick fix. The guys who, sign up to some boot camp just to get laid. It's like, dude, no, it's not. It doesn't work like that, right? You need to become the version of yourself who cold approach can work for. And we're all operating on our own timeline. It might take one guy 3 months. It might take another guy 6 months. But it just is, right? It just is. But I think you need to understand it's not for the faint of heart. You can't be a crybaby. You can't be an excuse maker or an action avoider. And also, you can't expect change to happen fast if you're not willing to take the action necessary. I think the modern man or the common man will do everything he can to avoid discomfort. When I get back to the UK, I'm always staggered by the amount of people who are vaping now. And I almost see that as like a silent epidemic, like grown men, like guys who are bouncers at nightclubs, or guys who look professional in suits, or guys who are in really good shape. It's like they can't sit with their own thoughts anymore. As soon as any form of silence hits them, or any form of like bad thought or insecurity pops up, it's like, on the vape. I'm like, this is not normal. Like, why are you sticking random shit in your mouth? It's like a child. It's like, oh, child is crying, it needs to be given a pacifier. Now I feel like vapes and iPads and phones are the new pacification of the masses. So I do think daytime cold approach, it will turn boys into men. It's a modern day rite of passage. We don't need to go out into the wilderness anymore for 40 days and 40 nights and return as men. I also do think it's a rebellion against what I call the great sedation. Yeah, so if you look at society right now, everyone is just passive, obedient spectators. Right? Nobody is prepared to actually put themselves out there. Nobody's prepared to go after what they want. It's almost like this cotton wool culture where, yeah, you just look around, like people fucking vaping, just sedated on the phones. It's like, I don't think it's ever been a better opportunity to get ahead. Like, if you learn something like daytime approach and you really apply yourself, you're going to be living an extremely, extremely abundant lifestyle. And yeah, it does require you to eat shit at the start. But it's just like an apprenticeship, right? You start off as shit. You understand to get great at anything, you have to risk not being able to do it. You surround yourself with guys who've been there, who've walked the path, who are better, who are further ahead. and you enter a culture of excellence. And I just think that it's not for the common man, it's not for the faint of heart, it's for guys who really want more, who are tired of being pushed around, who are tired of letting life pass them by, who are tired of watching other guys who are no smarter, successful, richer than them take the women who could have been theirs. Yeah. So I really do think Cold Approach is a rebellion. And I think it's not for the common man. But I think if you do get started with something like Daytime Approach, understand the way you start is not the way you finish. It doesn't just mean on a session. It means the person you are right now is not going to be the same person 5 years from now if you devote yourself to the discipline of day game. Like the version of me that's speaking to you today, I'm not the same person I was when I started, and you can see that. I'm the only person in this industry who's documented his entire chronology in this catalog of content. Just go back to my oldest videos, look at the person I used to be, and that proves in real time the way you start is not the way you finish. So I think that's important. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. I think this is the longest live stream I've ever done. Maybe not. Okay, number 24. I became more cold-hearted. So I was saying before that I was quite emotional. I was quite feminized when I first started Cold Approach. When I first started making videos on YouTube, I'd be very reactive. I'd be very emotional. And I think through this process of being rejected more than anybody else that I know, having relationships that turn to dust, having people who I love pass away, just a lot of experience in life, I've kind of just come to the conclusion now that things just are. You know, it is the whole nothing's good nor bad, it's the thinking that makes it so. But I think the people who do the best with Daytime Approach, the guys who become more cold-hearted, not in a emotionless way, but just in a rational way, where they can just look at the playing field of life and things can happen, shit can go sideways, and they can just be okay no matter what happens. It's like, yeah, it just is. In 100 years, none of this is going to matter. And I'm going to have to get over this at some point anyway. So I might as well get over it now. And that's one of those standout qualities to me when guys are like, listen, I don't care what it takes. I'm prepared to do what I need to do to get excellent at this skill. I know it's going to be difficult. I know there's going to be obstacles. I know there's going to be challenges, but I'm in it for the long haul. I think this is important because Daytime Cold Approach, it is going to throw curveballs at you. But now I kind of view everything as God acting in disguise. Yeah. And again, even if it's not true, we make it true by believing in it. But I think having a more rational outlook on life, I understand everybody is motivated by their own self-interest. We all just want the best deal for ourselves. All is fair in love and war. So I have more of a detached presence now in this world where I just don't judge people like I used to. Because I think one of the reasons why we fear failure is because we judge others who fail. And now I've got more of an understanding complex towards people. Like I know if somebody decides to throw some sort of hate at me online, or you know they leave a comment, or maybe I don't know, a guy cuts me off in traffic, I'm just like, it's more of a them thing than a me thing. Like that person's probably struggling. I've got passion, I've got empathy, I've got, I should say compassion. I've got compassion, I've got empathy for that person. I understand there's a reason behind everybody's actions. I think it's made me more of a mature person now because I understand it just is. You know, everybody's got their own battles that they're fighting, a lot of them in secret. I just try not to judge people the same way that I used to. I'm not perfect. I fuck up all the time, but yeah, I just have more of this rational outlook on life now. And I've definitely got that through Daytime Approach, through all of the curveballs that it's thrown my way. Number 25 is just have a sense of humor. I think we want to make Cold Approach so fun, it's hard to be inconsistent. I think with something like the Entourage, I think we just kind of take the piss out of life now. Do you know what I mean? Like the guys in the Entourage, they can all Cold Approach, they can all get obscenely fantastic results. They've done it all, they've seen it all. We're just trying to have as much fun as possible now. I remember when we were having our in-person meetup in Barcelona at the start of this year. We got about 11 Entourage guys together in Barcelona. Everybody was just laughing their way through the city. It wasn't even about Cold Approach anymore. It was just about having fun. I think one of my biggest superpowers is my sense of humor. Like I can just enjoy the art form of learning. I'm just not taking myself as seriously. You know what I mean? You'll see it in my infields. Like if I have a conversation that goes shit, I'll just be like, bye. And it's just a way for me to, I don't know, just laugh my way through life. Again, in 100 years, none of this is going to matter. But I think finding ways to make Cold Approach fun. Like in the Entourage, we've got a private WhatsApp group. And then when people are out there cold approaching, they'll post wins, they'll post video messages, they'll post voice messages. if a guy has a bad approach, or if a guy has a date that didn't go his way, or maybe a guy brought a girl back to his place, but for whatever reason, things didn't transpire, we're just kind of not taking the game serious anymore. We're not attaching importance in the same way that maybe we used to. I think having a sense of humor is rare, especially in this industry. Like, you might be watching guys online and everything just feels very robotic and formulaic and systematic. And there's like no soul in this anymore. But I think if you're actually enjoying yourself, then the girl feels that as well. It's a classic, the girl's your mirror. She feels what you feel. So I think just having a good time with cold approach. And I think, to actually do that, I think it's important that you've got a life outside of daytime approach and you are feeling fulfilled in your everyday existence. Yeah, I think a misconception that once you've actually started to develop proficiency with cold approach is, before I was talking about could girls versus would girls and making sure that you go from being a shotgun to a sniper. It's kind of the same thing, that I think you should only be doing cold approach when you want to be doing cold approach. This is more so like once you actually have developed proficiency. But like, you don't want to be forcing yourself out for sessions. Like, if you're genuinely not in the mood and you think there's other things you could do which are more productive, or your time is better invested into that thing, again, it's overcoming this guilt complex that you should always be doing it. I think guys get the best results, in my experience, when they really just want to go out and approach, because maybe they just feel so full, they feel so abundant, they've surrounded themselves with good people, maybe they made a great sale at work, maybe they've been doing some like passion project, playing their instrument, whatever the fuck it is. Like, going out there, it's like there's a different you who's turning up. It's more of that abundant, full version of you. So rather than going out there to feel full, you already feel full, and then you go out there into the world. So, but yeah, I think having a sense of humor is important. Number 27 is I killed my inner bitch. Yeah, I used to just be, like I say, I was a little bitch when I first started, very emotional, very reactive. I think just doing a lot of difficult shit, like traveling to Bangkok, immersing myself in Muay Thai, solo traveling to over 30 countries, going to places like Rio, watching myself back on camera, realizing I was a little bitch, realizing I was a little pussy, surrounding myself with more masculine people in more masculine cultures. I think just doing as much shit that scares me, realizing that I wasn't as bulletproof as I thought I was, having the emotional bravery to be able to accept that. That was actually one of the motivations for one of my clients. Sean was a 50-year-old business owner. He just turned 50. And his motivation for working with me was he wanted to kill the needy bitch inside of him. Because like in his life, he'd always settled for women and he'd always kind of been the emotional tampon in his relationships. And he got to a point where he turned 50 where he's like, I need to make some serious changes. So we worked together. 6 months later, he met his fiance. And, I think the best thing for him wasn't just meeting a wife-worthy woman. It was actually eradicating that needy little bitch inside of him. And it was through the concept of anti-game artistry, which I've been speaking about a lot in this stream. But it's a system that works. It's a system that's already worked for over 200 guys. If you want to learn how the system works, first link below this video, that'll take you to my landing page. And you'll actually be able to watch a 28-minute video where I break down the entire system, the different components of it, because that's a system that I basically install into all of my clients. It's a system they pay me thousands of dollars to help them implement. You can watch the free training right now. It's completely free. So you might as well watch it, and it'll give you more of a deep dive into what I actually do with my clients. But yeah, just killing that little bitch inside of me. I think we've all got it. I think, when we are out there, because, you've probably heard the advice before, just be yourself. But it's like, what self are people actually talking about? Because usually when you are out there, you are cold approaching, your lower self comes out, the version of you that craves comfort over character. So when people say just be yourself, the advice is shit, because the version of you want to be is trapped beneath all this bullshit. And that's why when I'm working with my guys, we're not adding anything, we're actually removing it. So I'm not telling my guys to just be themselves, because like, well, what self do you want me to be? Because the version of you that exists is just buried beneath all these layers of social conditioning. That's the self that women want to connect with, your raw, unfiltered, unapologetic you. But to get to that stage, it just takes a lot of rewiring, a lot of unlearning the bullshit, a lot of exposure therapy as well. But yeah, best advice I can give to you is just go out and just get 100 daytime approaches done as fast as possible. That is worth more than watching 100 videos, because there's thousands of hours of content available online. It'll take you thousands of hours to watch it, even more time to implement, and there's no guarantee you'll get to where you want to get to either. You don't need more information, you just need implementation. Again, one approach with me is worth 30 approaches on your own. Click the link below this video and you'll be able to see how the system actually works and if it could work for you. because it doesn't work for everybody. What else? Cold approach is not for the faint of heart. Said that. Have a sense of humor. Started taking radical responsibility for my life. That's another kind of given as well. But yeah, just stop complaining. Just stop being a little bitch. Just stop trying to outsource my sovereignty to external entities. Even though I think a lot of the conditioning does come from external forces. It's like, if the external world is going crazy, control your inner world. I was just taking everything as my fault, right? If girls were flaking, if I was getting rejected, if my content wasn't performing, it's all my fault. I'm just not valuable enough. I'm just not fuckable enough. I'm just not whatever enough. And it just gave me this drive. But I think it's important as well to have a superior inferiority complex. That's what I've got. I noticed it in a few people, but I find it rare that people are actually prepared to just say it's the world. Like, no bullshit, I think I'm better than everybody. But at the same time, I think I'm an unlovable piece of shit that no matter what I do, I'm never going to be enough. And that's a lightning combination. Because it means that I have these delusions of grandeur, but I've also got this crippling perceived lack of self-worth. And when you put those two things together, it creates magic. So, yeah, I think just taking this radical responsibility, accepting everything's my fault, like, I just think it's important because I think, there's a lot of people in life who'll be like, oh, it's okay, you're good enough, just do your best. I'm like, well, fuck your best. Your best isn't good enough, because if your best was good enough, then you'd already be living the life you wanted. So it's not doing your best, it's doing what is necessary. I was just having these radically honest conversations with myself in private and being like, right, why is your content not performing? Why are you not making the money you want? Why are you living in this grotty apartment? Why have you not unlocked an international lifestyle yet? Why are people not taking you seriously? And having this through the lens of superior inferiority, like feeling like I was better than everybody else, it pissed me off to know that I could be doing better. And then having this perceived lack of self-worth, it kept me grounded, it held me accountable. It helped me stay accountable for my own actions. 20 minutes, 20% battery, shit. I need to get through these ones. All right, 28, I started training Muay Thai in Thailand. Yeah, I mean, that was just like awakened animalism one-on-one. I was scared shitless when I first started training, but that helped in my masculine renaissance. Just putting myself into that animalistic atmosphere, it just felt right. Like, I'll be going back to Bangkok shortly. I'll be retraining with the Muay Thai. It just feels good, man. It just feels alive. Like, I definitely get into that feeling of godly frequency. I come out the Muay Thai gym, I feel like I've done 100 approaches. It just feels awesome. And it just feels right. Do you know what I mean? It just feels primally perfect to be positioned in that environment. So, yeah, started training Muay Thai. I definitely think that helped in terms of my overall sexuality, reclaiming my power as a man. I think it just kind of goes hand in hand. Do you know what I mean? Like, doing cold approach, learning martial arts, traveling the world. I mean, if you do all this shit consistently, you are going to feel different. What else do I do? I leverage a compelling Instagram. So, yeah, something that I say to you boys all the time is Instagram is a landing page. And one of the biggest reasons why girls flake is because of a lack of social proof. If you're a random guy who approaches her on the street, context is important. So if you've got a compelling Instagram profile which shows off your personality, then she can go over to that page and she can get more invested without you even needing to do anything, because a profile does a lot of the heavy lifting on your behalf. A lot of guys are resistant to building a compelling Instagram. In fact, the guy that I was talking about earlier, Richie, when I first explained to him the power of Instagram, he resisted it. Now, it's basically what he does. Like, he leverages his Instagram profile, he hosts private parties, and women are chasing him, even though these are women that he initially approached, because his profile is so good now that it gets women invested without him needing to do anything. If you want a deep dive on how to leverage Instagram in the modern world, just type in Christian Casanova Instagram. I've got a full free video on how to actually use Instagram to make cold approach even easier. So I would say watch that. Number 30 was got out of the optimization trap. So I've already spoke about this, the optimization trap, feeling as though you need to become more high value, feeling as though you need to optimize more. No, you just need to take more action and continue to level yourself up in every area of life, but don't neglect intersexual communication. Like, don't be one of those guys who's watching red pill content, black pill content, on his little self-improvement grind, going on monk mode. Like, the amount of entrepreneurs who work with me, and it's like, I basically locked myself in a room for 5 years to get rich, but now I can't get women. It's like the whole reason I got rich was to get women, but now I realize just having money is not enough. Just having a nice body is not enough. Just having a cool lifestyle is not enough. If I can't take the action, if I can't initiate, if I can't lead and escalate, it's kind of like, what was the point? So yeah, don't fall into the optimization trap. You might be in there at the moment. I would say just get outside, do 100 daytime approaches. If you are struggling, watch the video that I've linked below. It'll walk you through the exact system that's already worked for over 200 guys, just like you. Number 31, I went out to get rejected. Yeah, because I understood that, a lot of people are scared of getting rejection, and I need to emotionally callous myself I would just have days where I just go out with the purpose of getting rejected as fast as possible. I would advise you to watch the video on my channel as well, which is I approached 33 women in London to overcome my fear of rejection. That video demonstrates in real time rejection will not ruin you. And also, if you're not getting rejected, you're not playing the game properly, because everyone's going to get rejected. It doesn't matter who you are, how much experience you've got, how many women you've been with, how fuckable you think you are. Not every woman is going to be into you. So as soon as you can get over that fear of the unknown, the fear of not receiving love from the feminine, as soon as you pop that fantasy of trying to be universally attractive, it sets you free. And it sets you free in every aspect of life as well. Because then it's like, cool, I can just take shots now, no issue if people don't like me. And I just think you become a more sovereign and socially free individual where everyone else is living like closet heterosexuals. So go out to get rejected. Oh, this is a good one. Number 32. I started saying I'm the best in the world at daytime cold approach. A lot of people don't realize why I do this. A lot of people think it's just uncontrollable narcissism, which is probably 20% of it. But really, the reason why I started saying to people I'm the best in the world at daytime cold approach is kind of similar to why UFC fighters trash talk. I'm thinking about someone like Conor McGregor. The reason why I say this shit is because it holds me to the highest standard possible. If I say I'm the best in the world at daytime cold approach, then I better live up to that standard for myself and for my clients. So now when guys work with me, they've got a certain expectation, right? The amount of social proof that I leverage on the internet, the amount of testimonials that I share, the full system that I've linked below, I need to fulfill those expectations. So when I say I'm the best in the world at daytime cold approach, it holds me to a higher standard. Right? And people don't understand this. They think, oh, like nobody would ever say that. And again, that's kind of the reason why I do it as well, because nobody else would do that, right? But it's like if you wanna stand out, you need to be outstanding. And I think a good way of doing that is doing what most people would not do. Again, cold approach is not for the faint of heart, right? You can't just be this closet heterosexual who's tiptoeing his way into conversations. It's like you can't be half a gangster. So if you're gonna do something, go the whole way. Going halfway with half a heart only digs a deeper grave. In the game of online content creation now, it's an attention-based economy. You need to know how to get attention. Otherwise, your personal brand is not going to survive. So when I say I'm the best in the world at daytime cold approach, it makes people criticize me, people leave comments, it gets my content more traction. Like attention sells, dude. Controversy sells. So you need to understand the game, right? I'm playing the YouTube game. You're playing the cold approach game. We're all playing the life game. You need to understand the rules of the game and playing better than anybody else. That's just a little bit of personal branding tactics for you. Number 3 is approach #milkshakes. So older women, middle-aged women, if you've got a shitload of social anxiety right now, remember you don't have social anxiety, you just lack practice. But let's say you've told yourself the story that you've got social anxiety, and you've got a lot of approach anxiety, which doesn't exist either, as we discussed at the start of this stream, just start off with middle-aged women. That's what I did in Leeds. I was just approaching #milkshakes. The good reason for this is because they've got skin in the game. They don't take themselves seriously anymore, and you can just have a great crack with them. They're really just great women to talk with, and the sex is fire as well. So just, if you're a young guy and you don't have a lot of experience and you just need to get some points on the board, just start approaching some #milkshakes. They absolutely love it. They've not been approached in a long time. And if you're their type, if they're just in the market for a little bit of fun, you can easily get points on the board. I would say, don't use it as a crux. Don't stay on the milkshakes. But even just if you're first going out there for a session and you just need to get some social momentum behind you, just give quick fire compliments to some milkshakes. Oh, you look incredible. If I didn't have a girlfriend, I'd take you out, both of you. Oh, let's go Daphne's. There's a great video on my channel. Actually, there's loads. Just having Christine Casanova MILF. And you'll see shitload of great MILF conversations. Number 34 is never be at home. You're not going to meet the woman of your dreams at home in your apartment where everything is comfortable. You need to get outside. You need to put yourself in the social arena. Proximity is power. Sometimes the only shift a guy needs to make is just to be at home less, all right? So if you're a busy entrepreneur, you're spending a lot of time in the same four walls, you can operate your business from anywhere, there is a tendency to crave comfort and crave familiarity and stay inside a lot. I say fuck that. Never be at home. Yes, it's a hyperbolic statement. Obviously, you need to go home to sleep, to make love, to watch Christine Casanova in Fields, but never be at home. Just take any opportunity to say yes to life. It might be taking a walk on your lunch break. It might be walking to the gym instead of getting a taxi. It might be, what else could you do? It might be going for after work drinks with your colleagues, which you might not want to do, but it could put you in the social arena where you spot a woman from the other side of the room and just go over and cold approach her. It might be going to improv classes or dance classes, just doing things that you wouldn't usually do to live a life you wouldn't otherwise have lived. I think the world is set up right now where you never would have to leave your home. It's oh, I'm bored, Netflix, I'm horny, porn, I'm hungry, Uber Eats. Everything is easy. We're all addicted to this this culture of immediacy. But I think if you do want to break out, then you literally need to get outside, right? The beautiful connections, you're not going to find them at home. Oh yeah, but I can use apps. Yeah, great. I mean, apps. Apps are basically draining your masculinity. And I think one important caveat to make is I'm not against using dating apps. I'm not against going to nightclubs. I'm not against getting women through your social circle. I think a lot of guys, they become very puritanical about cold approach. Like, I think you should go through a period where you do devote yourself to learning this discipline. But I think it's like having multiple streams of income, right? If you've got some passive income on dating apps, if you also enjoy going to nightclubs, maybe you've got some traction in your social circle, fucking do everything. Like, why restrict yourself to one avenue? Do you know what I mean? So I think it's like, if you want to become fantastic and excellent and elite at daytime call approach, I would say for 90 days, ditch the dating apps, get outside, talk to as many women as possible. But then say 2 years later, you're like, I'm traveling to Krakow. I want to sort of, increase the pipeline before I get there. Then fucking good luck to you. If you're out there and you're call approaching and you're consistent and you're getting results, I think you, out of everybody on this planet, deserve to have a little bit of fun. If you want to use the apps, or you want to go to nightclubs, or you want to try and strategically get Sophie through your social circle, like fucking good luck to you. Again, 100 years time, all this is going to be forgettable. So don't die with your music still inside of you. I think the problem becomes when you become dependent on an app and you've not proved to yourself you can actually call approach yet. So yeah, that's just a little bit of advice. Do what you want with it. Well, we're almost there. We're almost at the fucking holy grail of 40. Jesus, it's been long. And number 35 is record the audio of my conversation so I had a point of reference. Yeah, so before I started getting coached, I was recording the audio using my wired headphones on my old iPhone. I can't remember what iPhone I used to have. It was some like shit thing. I remember the iPhone I used to have. I was on a train once, and the conductor, who's about maybe 60 years old, he looked at it. He was like, "That's a fucking antique." I was like, "You cheeky bastard." It was like an iPhone 5S. I was using that in like 2020. Yeah, I know, don't judge me. I didn't have any money. But yeah, just record the audio on your phone. That's what I was doing. I was going home. I was very, looking back, like, I just respect myself so much for the hustle that I put in at the start. Like, I would go out into Leeds City Centre, I'd record my approaches on the voice recorder app on my phone. I had to like conceal the phone when I was taking phone numbers. That's right, it flicked anyway. And then when I got back to my apartment, I would get a little notebook. I would write down everything I was shit at. And then the next session, I would go out and attempt to rectify it. So, okay, I'm talking too fast, or I'm not approaching girls who with their friends, or my stop is shit, or I sound too platonic, or I sound like a castrated squirrel. My intonation's all off. So, like, I was just putting a lot of groundwork in at the start because I was just obsessed. Because for me, it was kind of like a life or death situation when I was first learning cold approach. I'm like, I can't do the other things. They're not working for me. So this is the thing. And whenever I start something, I don't do half measures. I'm just obsessive, I'm relentless, and I will do what it takes to become the best in the world at it. And cold approach was that for me. It's like this, it just became my everything. It still is to an extent. I love it. It's not my baby. But yeah, I was recording the audio of my conversations, and that just gave me a point of reference. Then when I went to London, I started getting coached. I started seeing myself back in 4K quality. I was like, fucking hell, you're shit. But yeah, it was useful at the start. So if you can't, if for whatever reason, I mean, anybody should realistically be able to afford coaching. I actually think, you know what I mean? It's like, if you're one of those people who's like, oh, I can't afford coaching right now, then your dating life is the last thing you should be looking at. You should be looking at your fucking finances, dude. Not try to like pick up chicks. It should be, why can't I afford to live a better life? That's what you should be looking at. Not, oh, why can't I afford it? It's like, well, why can't you afford it? It's like, what's going on here? Like, why can't you afford to invest into yourself? Because again, we don't have dating problems. We've got personal problems. So you need to look at your life as a whole and be like, okay, what can I improve? What actions do I need to take? How can I become more valuable in an ever-changing modern landscape? That's what I did. I don't say this to try and be like, oh, look at me. But 5 years ago, dude, I was a complete broke, porn-addicted loser, right? And if I've been able to change my reality, then hopefully that shows you it's also possible for you as well. We do live in the land of opportunity. Most people are not even trying. So you can get ahead in this world, but I think you need to be strategic. Give yourself 2 years, focus on becoming as valuable as possible, make as much money as possible, because there's not a lot of things you can do in this life without money either. But that's a separate tangent. Number 36, acted as if. I kind of spoke about that already, but yeah, I just acted as if I already was the guy that I wanted to be. If you go back to my content 5 years ago, I was just trying my best to, I had an idea in my mind of the man that I wanted to be. And the guy that is talking to you today, like, I created this version of myself in my mind. I do think acting as if is such a beautiful reframe, because we are what we pretend to be. I've spoke about this concept before. It's not fake it till you make it. It's believe it so you can become it. But belief in itself is not enough. You need to prioritize behavior over belief. It's all well and good for me to say I'm the best in the world at daytime cold approach. It's all well and good me believing in that, but I need to make these beliefs match with the behaviors. So I need to act as if. So I need to act. Yeah. So I think what's important is if you've got an idea of who you want to be, and you write it down in a personal renaissance document, so you refer to yourself in the third person as though you've already achieved those things. Again, download my Most Fuckable Man course. I'll walk you through the full process there. Then it gives you a North Star. It gives you something to aim for. Like, think about it. You wouldn't just hop on a plane not knowing where you were going, right? You need a destination in mind. And that's what I was doing 5 years ago. I had an idea about who I wanted to be, the life that I wanted to be living, the community that I wanted to have built. And I just reversed engineered it. And I acted as if I already was that person, right? And it's like delusional optimism, I think, is an important trait to have. It's like you might not be the version of yourself right now, but you've got delusional optimism. You can become that person. And you just start small. You stack wins. You get around the right people. You invest into yourself. You have an obsession with progression. Over time, you start becoming the version of yourself who you had in your mind. But download my Most Fuckable Man course. Just type in Christian Casanova Most Fuckable Man course. It'll help you with that. Number 37 is solipsism. This is a great one. So I think one of the best mental reframes to me with cold approach was solipsism. So it's this belief that only the self is real and everybody else is an NPC or non-playable character. If you're someone right now and you've got a fear of what other people think, imagine if nobody else was real. Imagine nobody else existed. Imagine you were the only person on this planet, because that's what I did, especially when I was learning magic. I was just pretending that nobody else was real. I think about it, if you went to Amsterdam and you saw a homeless guy with his dick out, you would just think, oh, there's a homeless guy with his dick out. And you go back to thinking about yourself. People are the same way as well. You know, if you've got a fear of the social spotlight, just recognize that people will either respect it or they're jealous. Either way, you win. But take it a level deeper. Just imagine nobody else is real. Just imagine for a day as a thought experiment that you are the only conscious, sentient being on this planet, and everybody else is like the Sims. Everybody else is an NPC. Imagine how carefree. Imagine how you would actually act in the world, because you're not scared of that public judgment anymore. Again, this runs way deeper than just talking to women. It's ingrained into our biology. I'm providing some mental reframes here, but there's not going to be any substitute for just going out into the real world, exposing yourself to 100 direct approaches, and learning by doing. But solipsism is good. You should study it. Number 39 is don't cold approach, warm approach. So you probably heard it online before that you should act on choosing signals. I mean, that's a bunch of bollocks to an extent, because most guys who, like, if you can't cold approach, you can't warm approach, right? If you've not practiced initiating and opening and acting on immediacy, even if a woman gives you eye contact, even if a woman is looking at you from the other side of the street, even if you walk past a woman and she's flicking her hair and giggling and even say hi, you probably still won't approach, because you've not trained the muscle enough. So all this stuff online that, oh, you need to wait for choosing signals, bro, is a bunch of bollocks, because most guys won't warm approach because they've not practiced cold approaching. So you'll probably see throughout this stream the antidote to all of your anxieties at the moment is action, but is deliberate action. It's 100 daytime approaches following anti-game artistry, meaning you don't stress about long conversations, you don't stress about push-pull vibe stack, you don't wear a mask, you simply focus on opening and closing. But you're not going to warm approach until you can cold approach. So do 100 direct cold approaches, and then you'll be able to act on immediacy when you do get those choosing signals. And that brings us on to the final fucking point. Hallelujah, dude. Is the kind of the thing that I've been speaking about throughout, which is anti-game artistry. I think out of everything that I've done, this is probably one of my greatest gifts to the community, is the system that I developed, anti-game artistry, which is just making cold approach as stupidly simple as possible. If you are a successful, high-achieving guy, you don't want cold approach to become a second job, you don't want to get a weird reputation for yourself as some low-value pickup artist, and you don't want to spend the next 2 years learning game theory. You probably just want a system which is consistent, which is repeatable, which can get you the results that you want, which is most likely hot women in your bed with the least amount of effort. Then that's what I've developed with anti-game artistry. It's already worked for over 200 guys. And if you want to learn how the system works, then I've put a link to the free training underneath. It's the same system which my clients pay me thousands of dollars to help them implement. You can get the training right now completely free. So underneath this video, there is a link. It's a 28-minute video, and it'll walk you through the entire anti-game artistry process, step by step. So, I mean, bro, like, we made it. If you've enjoyed any of this, then do me a favor, just drop it a like. I'm proud that we got to the end of it. But yeah, if you've enjoyed the stream, drop it a like. I've dropped 40, probably more actually. I've probably dropped about 100 things on this stream that have helped me with Cold Approach. So this is everything that I've done to make Cold Approach easier or easy. Yeah, like I say, this is just stuff that has worked for me. I hope it works for you as well. If you have enjoyed it, drop it a like, and we'll speak again soon. All right, love you. Bye.